Happy International Women's Day to all aboard the good ship HMS PTL, hashtag STFC. The UN theme for this year is Digit All. And tonight we're delivering innovation and technology for gender equality in spades. First up, joining us via the innovative digital medium of Twitter Spaces are all of James Lally's new signings. That's Mia Mugford, Anna Barnes and Charlie Rowlands. The terrific trio are joining us for a round of your silly questions. Helping us to put these crafty conundrums to our star guests are the equally spiffy women that score all the goals. That's Annie Colston, and the woman who tops the assist charts, Helena Diaz-Butcher. Yep, we have them digital. We'll also be reviewing a superb away day out for us all in East London as Town muscled a point off tabletoppers late in Orient. We'll be previewing Saturday's home clash with some high-flying Cumbrians. We've got news and analysis of a new signing for Swindon Town on the pitch. And we'll be breaking news on Swindon Town's new on-pitch announcer, who will be in place at the county ground from approximately 1:45 on Saturday. But let me first introduce you to my panel for this evening. I have Annie. How are we, Annie?
I'm very good. How are you?
Very good. So you've gone from what's the word here? You've gone from poacher to gamekeeper, Annie. It's fair to say, with a switch onto the panel, and joining you as sort of making that switch is Lanes. How are you, Lanes?
I'm good, thank you.
It's an absolute treat to have you with us. We've also got the regulars with me tonight. Joe, how are we, buddy?
Good evening, mate. Yeah, all good, thank you. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. We've got Chris.
Yeah, it was a very good one. It's going to be a fun night, I think.
Oh, I think so. And we've also got Ellis. How are we, Ellis?
I am smashing Hannah's.
Well, it's good. It's good to hear. I think Charlie's having a little bit of technical trouble trying to jump on the show at the moment. She's currently a listener. We're desperately trying to get her to flick the mic on. Charlie, if you're listening, and it's as simple as being on your smartphone, just accept the speaker request, flick your mic on, and we're away. And make sure you are trying to join us via a smartphone as opposed to a laptop. Otherwise, you won't be able to speak on the show, although you'll still be able to listen as you're doing at the moment. So we'll give Charlie a few seconds to sort those bits and bobs out. Annie, as I said, you're what's the best way of putting it? You're a goal scoring ledge from the weekend, but you're picking up questioning duties tonight. You've never done anything like this before, have you?
No, I have not. This is my first.
This is your first time, and Lanes as well. Normally, you're fielding questions as opposed to actually asking them. Are you feeling comfortable about that?
Not really, but I'll give it a go.
Right. So, just again, bear with us, dear listener. I've got Charlie messaging me frantically saying she's not receiving a speaker request. I promise, Charlie, we are. Charlie, what you can also do is you can actually send me a request to speak as well. The delights of Twitter Spaces, guys. At least the show's not skipping out this week. So, Charlie, if you look in your menu on the screen in front of you and hit request to speak, you should pop up as a speaker request. So, fingers crossed, we can get that rolling. Just bear with us. Right. Okay. Well, listen, we'll endeavour to crack on in the meantime. Just again receiving sorry, dear listener, for the last minute technical hitches. It's always the case with a live show, and one of our guests doesn't seem to be able to jump on at the moment. So we're going to keep endeavouring to get you on. Joe, can you beaver away in the background as well to see whether or not you can, as one of my co-hosts, can you see whether you can get a speaker request out of Charlie from your end as well?
Yeah, I have tried, mate. Say, Charlie, maybe if you try leaving the space and then coming back on, and then just pressing the left-hand button on the screen, just a little microphone, that should work.
Right. Well, what we'll do in the meantime is we will introduce our other two wonderful, wonderful star guests for tonight. So we've got Anna joining us. How are you, Anna?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, snuggle down into the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge, Anna. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. And Mia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well. Now, you ladies been in demand this week. You're veritable media stars, aren't you? What's life like in the spotlight?
It's very different.
It must be quite a change for you, Mia, because obviously both yourself and Anna and indeed Charlie, you've all been associated with the club previously, but so many changes and the club's profile is absolutely rocketing, isn't it? So again, that must seem kind of strange, right? Because it's the same club, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, but it's good to see it changing and more opportunities being given.
And how about you, Anna? Because obviously you've been with our friends down the road. What's it like coming back to Swindon Town? And again, it's the same badge, quite a lot of the same people, but under different ownership. It's all very much changed, doesn't it?
Yeah, changed massively, but definitely for the better. I never thought this would happen at Swindon Town, so for it to happen is amazing.
Absolutely outstanding. It's lovely to hear. We're still, Mia and Anna, beavering away trying to get Charlie up, and she's messaging Joe frantically. So what we'll do, we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're going to be able to get the tech to work for Charlie, who's jumped off the show, as I see, and hopefully she's going to be rejoining. So first questions first. I'll tell you what, I'll get the ball rolling, guys. And this is for all of you, really. So hopefully Charlie will come on at the tail end of this, which is you each have a minute. Can you introduce yourself properly to the listeners? So, Anna, let's go with you. 60 seconds start now.
I'm Anna. I was at the club when I was 16 until I was 19. Left for a bit as I'm down at uni in Plymouth. So joined Argyle for a 6-month spell, but I've come back to Swindon Town even though I'm still down in Plymouth for uni. Yeah, that's about it.
You're only 20 seconds in. We need more from you, Anna. We need more from you. I'll ask you some questions. Did you eat pasties while you were down there?
No, I don't like pasties. I'm more of a sausage roll kind of girl.
And are you still studying down in Plymouth?
Sorry?
Are you still studying down in Plymouth?
Yeah, I'm studying PE teaching at Plymouth Marjon Uni.
Oh, wow. And are you still based down there, or are you Swindon based?
Yeah, I'm still based down here. And then when I come back home, I'm based in Gloucester. So I make the journey up to Swindon, which is only about 40 minutes from Gloucester, but a lot further from Plymouth.
Very good. And you're very welcome. I'm delighted to say that Charlie's also very welcome. Hello, Charlie.
I'm so sorry.
Good evening to you.
I'm mortified. I've struggled so badly, but I'm here now. I'm really sorry.
That's all right. Charlie, listen, don't you worry. We're going to get you back. Some of these questions are brutal. I don't mind.
That's all right then.
So, Charlie, I'm sure you probably picked up on it. You've got 60 seconds to introduce yourself, but not just yet because Mia's next in line. So, Mia, your 60 seconds start now.
Okay, so I'm Mia. I've played at Swindon pretty much my whole life, but Swindon Town Women I started at like under 15s. Then I left in 2018 to go and study and play in America. And now my 4.5 years have been up, so I'm back at Swindon, and yeah, that's about it.
Oh, you lot, come on, you're making me earn my corn tonight, aren't you? That can't be about it. So come on, there's got to be something more. You've got 30 seconds left, Mia. Come on, dish the dirt. Come and dig into the darkest corners of your life and tell us something interesting.
I don't know, you put me on the spot a little bit.
All right, we'll let you off. We're breaking you in gently.
Yeah.
Charlie, your 60 seconds start now.
Okay, my name's Charlie. I played for Swindon when I was 16. I went to the Gothia Cup with a couple of the girls that are still there now. I've played for Forest Green previously and also Tuffley Rovers when I was a kid. I've not got much else to tell you. I've got a lovely few siblings. I've got a little brother called Dino, who's a little racing driver. And I've got 2 twins that are 8 years old, brother and sister. And then I've got a brother called Ethan who plays rugby for Jamaica.
Oh, absolutely amazing. So busy home life.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, bless you. Well, you've done very well. Congratulations to the three of you. You have officially broken the ice, and we are going to continue to roll forward. So one more question from me, again to the three of you. Who do you support, and who are your idols as kids? Do it in reverse order. Charlie, how about you go first? So who do you support, and who are your idols as a kid?
I support Arsenal. My idols as kids, I'd definitely say Alex Scott was up there. In terms of women footballers, really enjoyed watching Alex Scott captain Arsenal. And then I'm a massive Cristiano Ronaldo fan. I think his work ethic, is something that I really admire.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous. But you'll be aware, Charlie, of what happened in 1969 on League Cup final day.
You're going to have to tell me.
Well, the Arsenal went to Wembley and they walked the Wembley way. Joe, what happened next?
They thought they had it easy. They thought they'd won the cup.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? Do you want to finish us off?
Along came Swindon Town and fucked the bastards up.
So sorry, Charlie. Your choice of club is absolutely
Yeah, it sounds
appalling,
about right.
but more of that to come. Mia, how about you? Who do you support and who are your idols as a kid?
Well, I don't really want to say who I support now because I'm going to get hated on.
Anyone but Oxford, you can stay.
No, I'm an Arsenal fan as well.
Okay. All right. No, we've done that bit.
Yeah.
Charlie's giving you top cover, Mia. So who are your idols as a kid, Mia?
I really liked watching Messi. I mean, I think everyone knows he's like a great player, and I just like the way he plays.
Do you know what, Mia? I've been very, very lucky to go and watch football at the Camp Nou. And I can honestly say I saw a young Lionel Messi running from the right wing to infield. I've never seen someone run so fast with the ball at their feet. It was absolutely, literally phenomenal. And you already know that he's a special player because obviously you watch him on telly.
Yeah.
But to see the speed that he moves with a ball at his feet is phenomenal. So we've got Ronaldo, we've got Messi. Fine choices all round. How about you, Anna? Who do you support and who are your idols as a kid?
I support Man United, which is probably worse than Arsenal. And as a kid, I'd probably say I remember watching Steph Houghton a lot. But I didn't really watch much football as I was younger. I watched more tennis, so I looked up to Rafa Nadal a lot.
Well, Steph Houghton's a fantastic choice as a hero. You'll be aware that her husband's an absolute legend at Swindon Town. Anna, were you aware of that?
I saw a little bit, but I'm not aware of it massively.
So 2010 playoff semi-final at Charlton, Steph Houghton's husband, Stephen Darby, scored as a precocious 19-year-old. Buried a penalty in the bottom right-hand corner that took us to Wembley. And we send Stephen Darby all of our love as usual. And sorry, Anna, your idols were, I completely missed that because I was busy sort of dreaming about Stephen Darby.
I said I didn't really watch much football as I was younger. I watched more tennis, so I looked up to Rafa Nadal quite a bit just because of his. Yeah, he's quite athletic.
Yeah, he's another one, isn't he? With just absolutely ferocious work rate, very kind of Cristiano Ronaldo-esque, but obviously with racket in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, okay. So look, you've heard enough talking from me. Joe, you've got the next question.
I do, yeah. So, I mean, we kind of did a little bit of an intro with each of you at the start of the show, but if you could give us one interesting fact about yourself, what would it be? So, Anna, let's go with you this time.
Sticking on the tennis aspect of it, I played tennis at Wimbledon.
Oh, wow.
Oh, outstanding.
How's that come about?
So basically there's like a regional tournament that you do when you're younger. And if you win that, you go and play against everyone else that's won within their region, I think. So at the age of 13, I was in a competition playing against kids my age, but on the Wimbledon courts.
Blimey.
Oh, that is a really, really interesting fact. I'll tell you what, the other two have got their work.
I was going to say, we've set up Mia and Charlie here for a real tough time. Charlie, ever played at Wimbledon?
No, and now I'm in panic mode. I would say my most interesting fact is that my uncle David played for Watford when they were in the Premier League a fair few years ago now. David Johnson, he was their number 10.
That is nice.
Sorry, say that again.
I'll say that's probably one for Hannah's to remember. I think that's a bit beyond my time.
Oh yeah.
David Johnson. I've got vague memories of David Johnson. Again, you say he's the number 10. I'm going to have to look that up in the background. As soon as I see his face, I'll know all about him.
Happy days. Mia, you're last. Give us an interesting fact about yourself.
I guess I'm not really interesting because I can't think of anything.
Oh, no. Must be something.
Mia, the state of your Instagram, and you're dropping that on us.
I mean, moving to America to play football is like
yeah,
a fairly interesting
we'll
thing.
that. I moved to America to play football for 5 years.
Whereabouts did you go in America?
I done 2 years in Mississippi at a JUCO, and then I transferred to a 4-year and done an extra 3 years at University of Mobile in Alabama. So I stayed down south.
There you go. That is fairly interesting. Not many people can say that.
Right, who we got next? Sorry, I'm desperately now trying to find David Johnson online, and I can't find him. This is really annoying me. Right, who we got next? Who's got the next question?
I believe I do.
Go on, hit us with it.
Well, we sort of touched on this, but can you each tell us your biggest inspiration in football? So we can sort of spin that and say sort of who's helped you along your journey in football. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first. Obviously, I think my parents have been a massive help in like taking me to fixtures every weekend and training and helping me get to America. And if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't be able to do any of it. So they're my biggest inspirations towards my football.
Mia, could I butt in at this stage, because I'm a parent of 6, and it's the idea of one of my kids going like to the States. Whilst it is something I would love to see, it also absolutely terrifies me. Do you still remember the look on your parents' face when you departed, or was it just a question of, right, we got the room back now, we can stick a pool table in there?
Yeah, no, I think they were happy about it, really, because they got cheap holidays. So no, they wanted me to go, and obviously it was sad for them, but they just wanted me to go out there and do what I loved. So I think they were happy.
Oh, amazing.
I'll say Wales is far enough. Never mind America.
Yes, Chris, speaking from personal experience, aren't you? But yeah, Alabama, absolutely incredible. What a place to journey to. Sorry, Ellis, don't let me hijack your questions. Just dropping some soppy parent banter in there for you.
Anna, we'll go with you now.
Probably similar to Mia, I'd say my family. My dad loves me playing football, and so did my granddad. So they always used to come to my games and stuff like that. And my dad used to take me up and down to Bristol 2 times a week when I was younger. My mum loves me playing football as well. She watches occasionally, but I think she did prefer me playing tennis. But she still comes and supports me. And yeah, probably my parents are the biggest inspiration.
Yeah, nice. And Charlie, what about you?
Yeah, I don't mean to be unoriginal, but mine would be my parents as well. My dad, my whole life, he's been driving me up and down the country until I could drive myself, to Bristol and back, and all sorts all over the country. Our fixtures are quite spread out when I was younger, and he's always keeping me on the track, making sure I'm running enough, eating the right things, and he's always motivating me. So yeah, definitely my dad.
Yeah. What would we do without our parents?
Hey, what would we do without them? I tell you, my kids will tell you a few things they'd do without me. As soon as, but 2 of them have just disappeared off to university, they'd definitely tell you what they would do without me. Right, what we got for the next one? It's you, Joe, again.
It is indeed, yeah. So this one's just for Mia. So US college sports have got a massive reputation for being massive. I mean, as does women's soccer, especially over stateside. What's the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of over in the US? Have you played in front of some big crowds?
I don't know the exact figure, but yeah, the crowds were pretty big every home game, especially because we had a lot of like international students and like the international officer lady, whatever you want to call it. she would always get all the international students and all the other students to come along. So it was always pretty busy.
It's mad, isn't it? Because like I think, especially over stateside, it's maybe one of the only countries, maybe along with Canada, that the women's game is probably bigger than the men's game over there.
Yeah, no, I said this the other day. It is really big when it's like college sports, but after college, there's not much opportunities as there is compared to here, like to play after college level. So at a high level anyway, or higher level.
Oh, okay. I mean, like I said, I suppose basing it off of the US women's national team, I mean, they sell out like 70,000 seat stadiums, don't they, for their games?
Yeah.
But I suppose a lot of their players probably play for your Barcelonas, your PSGs, and your
Yeah.
Chelsea's and stuff. So yeah, that makes sense.
So Mia, obviously it must be really. It's quite an interesting sort of scenario for you then, because obviously when you left Swindon and you went off to Alabama, the notion that Swindon would be in the position they're at now, where they're playing games at the county ground and so on and such like, that must have seemed like a million years away. And then you've gone and had this journey where you've played in front of thousands of people out in the States. I mean, that in itself must have been psychologically quite a journey for you. But that at the same time, coming back to Swindon now on the journey that Swindon are on, playing more games at the county ground and Foundation Park, that clearly won't daunt you in the slightest, I'd imagine.
Oh, I think it will a little bit. It's just, yeah, no, I always do get nervous and stuff before any game, like even if there isn't many people. But I think that's a good thing in a way, to just shows that I care about what I'm doing.
Yeah, of course you do. Absolutely, and say, and I'm pulling on the glorious red. I mean, that'd make any of us nervous.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, got to perform for the badge. Chris, you've got the next one.
This is one again for Mia. Can pigs swim?
Yeah, they can.
Care to enlighten the listener, Mia?
I went to the Bahamas in December, and I went swimming with the pigs and fed them sausages, but they were chicken sausages, not pork sausages.
That is absolutely incredible. So you went to the Bahamas, of all places, and you were swimming with the pigs.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Do you remember any of the pigs' names?
No, I can't.
No. Dear listener, I would urge you to go and look at Mia's Instagram. It is truly incredible stuff. Truly incredible stuff. I don't think I'd ever seen a pig swim, Mia, until at the same time, a pig swimming in the sunshine. I mean, I just gobsmacked. So many questions, Mia. So many questions. So, and here's another question for you, Mia. And this one's from me. Again, stateside related. Oh, in fact, sorry, this is from Joe, isn't it? Sorry, Joe, you crack on.
It is. Trying to steal my thunder there, mate. In fact, no, it's not. It's yours. I'm stealing your thunder.
Oh, it is mine. Sorry. Right. So, Mia,
Yeah.
So now you're home. We therefore understand, to quote Green Day, you don't want to be an American idiot. Please tell us your best story of American idiocy.
Oh, God, I need to pick the best one, I guess. I don't know. I've done a lot of stupid things, but me.
Well, why are you assuming responsibility for American idiocy, Mia? Surely you were on the receiving end of some American idiocy, or
yeah.
saw some while you were out there.
Yeah, a lot. But I'm just trying to think of which one to say. Honestly, for me, I don't know if this is answering your question, but just walking around, going to Walmart or something, and you're seeing someone with a gun on their hip, that's actually just crazy to me.
But that's a fair one, yes. Given the country's recent record that people still would insist on walking around with a shooter, is probably not the best. But okay. Now this is where the big guns are coming out, because this is where Lanes is going to start asking questions. So Lanes, you're locked and loaded. Let's go.
Okay, mine's for Charlie. So my question is, what made you come back to Swindon?
Other than getting to see you every day, Helena.
Apart from that,
Yeah,
obviously.
obviously. I think the coaching staff, after speaking to Lally and KP, they sort of sold a very good case that my development was at hand and that I'd have the best around me, which I agree. I think challenging myself was another reason for coming to Swindon, and I have those really good memories of playing when I was 16 with a lot of the current squad at the Gothia Cup, as I said earlier, so it was an easy choice for me.
Marvellous. Joe, you got the next one. Looks like Charlie's also got... Yeah, this is also for Charlie, right?
It is, yeah. So, I mean, this one I was cowardly given last minute because we had one of the other girls asking this question, but Hannah's was like, no, it's too close to the bone. So, Charlie, have you ever hugged a tree?
Very good. Not as of yet, but Dale Vince can be persuasive, and I wouldn't put it past me to have to hug some trees during my time.
To be honest, if Duncan Ferguson shouted at me and told me to hug a tree, I'd probably go further than hugging it.
That's a good shout, actually. Charlie, have you met Duncan yet?
Yeah, I see him quite regularly with what I do at work, and he's actually very lovely. He is stern and scary if you're one of his players, but to us staff, he's really lovely and down to earth.
He is an absolute... I met him, Charlie. I met Duncan Ferguson after he signed for Glasgow Rangers for £4 million, which back then was a British record. The idea of them doing that now just boggles the mind. But he was coming in as the replacement for Mark Haitley, who had the most incredible strike partnership with TalkSport's Ali McCoist. And anyway, waiting around outside the stadium for a picture afterwards. And he realised I was English and he put me in a headlock. And that was the picture. I've got a picture of Duncan Ferguson with me in a headlock. Bearing in mind, he just signed for one of the biggest footballing institutions in Glasgow at the time. I can look back now. I thought it was quite funny, but I will dig the picture out, ladies and gents, and I will tweet it. I have been put in a headlock by Duncan Ferguson, and he's quite the guy, let me tell you. But hey, like I say, we're still all friends. Not that I'd be anything other than that with dear Duncan, who's a bit of a lump. Right, what we got next? Ellis, you've got the next one.
I do. This one is also for you, Charlie. Is it true that tofu is a martial art involving the digits on your feet?
I don't even know what that means. I'm not really sure what to take from that question.
Well, Charlie, you've got kung fu and then you've got tofu.
Right.
So I think what the listener's getting at here is like, is tofu actually, as opposed to it being a curd that you might eat at Forest Green, is it in fact a martial art involving your toes?
Christ, who writes these?
I think I probably prefer the kind of kung fu with your feet than I do the taste of tofu, if I'm honest. But at Forest Green, they do it very well. And some of the tofu that we have in our meals at the stadium are really, really lovely.
Oh, you're just towing the party line. You're not fooling anyone.
We've all heard what
You're
Gav
not fooling
Gunning.
anyone, Rowlands.
We've all heard what Gav Gunning's made of the Forest Green food.
Right, I talked about big guns. We've got the biggest gun of them all here, and she's talking about the big guns as well. Annie, fire away.
Hello. So my one is for Charlie as well. Can you describe the best ever goal you've scored?
That's a good question. Wow. One of my favourites will probably be in the Gothia Cup, actually. I scored a couple there that were quite important. One where we won a game 3-2 to send us through to the knockouts, and another was a penalty in a penalty shootout. And forgive me for my sins, but I scored a quite important goal for Forest Green Rovers, which won us the County Cup when I was a bit younger, and I always remember that one.
You said forgive me. It wasn't against us, was it?
Absolutely not, no.
Oh, God bless you. Well, that's all right then. Right, let's see what else we got here. So it's actually interesting because Annie, obviously you and Charlie linking up there, but you two moving forward, you there is, I think when Charlie first re-signed for the club, I think the first question that sort of pops up into my mind is that direct competition for you, Annie, and indeed for you, Charlie? Or can you guys, knowing your styles, because the listeners won't necessarily, do you guys see that there's a potential partnership there?
Yeah, I mean, a bit of competition is always healthy, and as much as this competition, I also think I can learn a lot from Annie. Like, her track record speaks for itself, and I've got a lot to learn from watching how she plays. But also that opportunity to link up, I think going forward, there's definitely room for us to play together up front and have really good link ups, and the way we play complements each other for sure.
Yeah, and Annie, I'm guessing, like, listening to Charlie there, like, a sort of, not necessarily, not that you're certainly not struggling under the burden, because your goal record this year has been absolutely off the charts. But I'm guessing having Charlie along the way, sort of sharing some of that goal scoring burden's probably going to be welcome for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Just echoing what Charlie said, it's nice to have someone else on the team that can, help with the goal scoring. Because if I go on a goal drought, then there's quite a lot of pressure on me if we're not scoring. So.
And I'll tell you who's going to definitely benefit from having you both in the squad is Emerson Evans. Obviously scored her first senior goal recently, but I'm sure she's going to be delighted to have both you, Annie, and you, Charlie, there to be learning from.
Yeah, it's always nice when some of the development squad or the younger players come up and join the first team and try and sort of get all of the sort of guidance they can out of us. It's always nice when we try and help them out.
So here's the next question is for all three of you, but we're going to go with you, Mia, to start with. Who do you room with on away trips, and what are their annoying habits? Appreciate you're not always necessarily staying away, so we'll include who do you sit next to on the coach.
Well, I've only been on one away trip, and I shared the room with Gypsy. And what was the other part of the question?
What's her most annoying habit?
Well, it wasn't just me sharing a room with Gypsy; it was me, her, and her boyfriend on FaceTime.
Oh my God! Please don't take it there. Please don't take it there. So I don't know, Joe, Chris, should we probe a little further here, or should we?
How does you're flustered?
Should we be gentlemen? I'm blushing, Mia. Now you've got me blushing, for goodness' sake.
Let's move on.
Let's move on, Gypsy. Your embarrassment's being saved. Mia, fair play to you. Just return to the club and keeping the relationships all intact. How about you then, Anna? What's who did you room with at St Austell, and what was their annoying habit?
I room with Annie.
Yeah.
I don't really know what her annoying habit is, actually.
This is where you go in, Anna.
Come on, Anna.
Take the opportunity. Go in.
No, we just had a nice night. We just watched Gogglebox and fell asleep, if I'm being honest.
Oh, does Annie snore?
No, she didn't, actually. She said she would, but she didn't.
Does she sleepwalk?
No, I didn't notice anyway.
Oh, Annie.
Okay.
Charlie, round us off.
I share with Tori. And to be fair,
Tori Taylor.
Yeah, she doesn't have any annoying habits, and I'm not joking. I think it was me that was the annoying one. Because I was just tossing and turning all night, worrying about playing the next day. So I think it was me that was keeping her up by just not shutting up the whole time.
Did she throw a pillow at you?
No, to be fair, I just kind of tried to stay as quiet as I could, and then she put Match of the Day on to sort of sound me out, I think. And it worked pretty well.
Good for you.
What we want to know is who shared with Lanes, and why am I imagining Lanes to be like Neil on the In-Betweeners when it went to Swanage? You know, bottle of vodka.
Emily actually had the privilege of sharing with me.
Privilege? Or, you know...
No, privilege.
Okay. Was it one of those like PE lessons, choosing your father's side team, and it was like all lined up on a wall? Lanes is last. You go, oh, okay, all right. I'll do it this one time, you know.
So, Lanes, did you dish the dirt then, Lanes? So obviously you're rooming with the keeper. We've all got bizarre habits, goalkeepers. What's hers?
She honestly was on TikTok till about 4 a.m. Like, I'm trying to sleep, and all I could hear was TikTok from her bed. It was ridiculous.
Come on, Keeps. See, you'll all remember the David James story, or maybe you won't because maybe you're a bit young, but David James blamed him failing to reach the heights that his career should have reached on a Nintendo addiction and playing. I think it's Mario Kart, Joe, wasn't it? Or Chris? Someone help me here. He blames playing too much Nintendo and the games console affecting his concentration on the Saturday every time he drops a clanger.
To be fair, I mean, the guy played till he was about 85 years old, so he did all right for himself.
Yeah, he didn't have a bad career, did he? Let's be honest. Right. So, Lanes, back to you with the big question. So, Lanes is going full on Paxman here.
My question's for Anna. Mine is, name your toughest opponent and why. And you've also played against us as well, Anna, so be careful.
Knocked out the FA Cup, for God's sake.
Exactly.
I'd probably say, obviously Swindon, but Oxford as well. I've played Oxford for both Swindon and Argyle. So
did you get booked in both games?
No, never. But yeah, they're just a really strong side. They have an incredible setup behind them, so tough to beat them.
Oh, that's depressing to hear.
Thanks for including us. No, you didn't mean it, but
anytime.
And Anna, did you actually play directly against? So you're a fullback, Anna. Forgive my ignorance. You left or right back?
Either.
Did you play? Were you up against Fighty Lanes when we played Plymouth? Because obviously Lanes decided that she wanted to scrap the world when we played Plymouth.
No, I was the opposite side to her against Swindon, but I did stop her from getting an assist. I remember that one.
Yeah. But did you stop her from having a fight? Because pretty much everyone else tried to stop Lanes that day. It's pretty impossible.
Wanted smoke, and I was ready to give it to her.
Yeah, the first thing she said to me after the game was, "Who's your left back?" And I don't like her. So
I did feel we did the commentary that day. I felt like Joe Rogan on UFC. I was like, yeah, ready to call a knockout.
I don't know what came over me that day. Honestly, I was so angry.
She's only 18. Lanes, give her a break.
Now I'm bullying children.
Real angry.
Yeah. Have you had when was your last DBS check, Lanes? You work in a school, for goodness sake.
It's up to date.
Right. Chris, you've got the next one.
This is a question for all of you, and it's a bit of general knowledge. So, your average person does what 13 times a day? And we'll start with you, Mia.
13 times a day. Sneezes?
Sneezes from Mia. Not bad.
No, Anna, what's your...
Oh, she's searching this up.
She can't hear you. So, Anna, what does the average person do 13 times a day?
Anna, you are so Googling.
No, I actually can't hear Chris. Cough.
So we've got sneezing, coughing, neither of which are correct. Charlie, you can steal the goal.
Is it
here.
weeing? That's quite a lot, actually, isn't it, for weeing?
Maybe if you've got a urinary infection.
That's like me on a Friday.
I just wondered. Yeah, I know. Okay, fine.
I think if you're weeing 30 times, yeah, that's a doctor's appointment.
Can I change mine? It wasn't locked in.
What's the answer, Chris? Put them out their misery.
The answer is laugh.
There you go. With our comedy gold, ladies, you've already laughed more than 13 times today. So we're going to send you off into tomorrow with a skip in your step. Next question is from me, and it's for Anna. And Anna, the question from the listener is, can the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge please refer to you as Digger Barnes?
If you want to, I'd like to know the context of Digger Barnes, but yeah, of course.
So, well, Digger Barnes was an 80s soap villain, and he was so villainous and so famous back in the 80s that John Barnes then became Digger Barnes. John Barnes, of course, of World in Motion, Liverpool and England fame, including that goal at the Maracanã. So it's up to you, Anna. If you think that isn't an insult, I think we're going to be calling you Digger from now on.
I'll take it if you're calling John Barnes that, of course.
Hey, there you are then. Right, well, we've hit the intermission period. So this is where the listeners, please feel free to go off, put the kettle on. But ladies, your job here isn't finished, because your job is now, whilst the listener is making their cup of tea, getting their biscuits, to tell us the story of success on Sunday. So 2 p.m. kickoff down in St Austell. I think this has been quite an interesting one because obviously it was a long way for you guys to go, and you actually stayed overnight, didn't you? Like we made the point of saying, you don't tend to stay away many games. But St Austell was quite the trip, and you did actually make it an overnighter. So, I mean, who wants to go? Mia, how about you? Seeing as it's your first game back, because obviously pictures of you circulated as well, like the announcement of your signing was made. It appeared to be whilst you guys were at the hotel, and there you were catching up with all your old teammates, a few old faces and lots of new ones. So tell us the story of the day, Mia.
Yeah, so before the game, we actually took a trip down to Charlestown Harbour and went for a little walk. And then as the game started, we were playing pretty well. I think we had opportunities and the score didn't really reflect on the game as such.
It was put to me, Mia, that you were absolutely peppering the goalkeeper. Is that right in the first half? But literally, I think KP said you pretty much did everything but hit the back of the net.
Yeah. Annie had a couple of chances. Meg had a couple of chances. Lanes. But I just think the pitch that we played on was actually terrible. I've never seen a pitch like it. So I don't think that was in our favours.
Yeah, so it had a real slant. I mean, obviously, look, there are pitches that are known in the Football League for having that sort of slight slant from one end to the other. But you had this crazy slant, didn't you, going side to side? I mean, just how bad was it?
Well, I think everyone's calves were hurting the day after from it. So.
Oh, wow. So, obviously, Charlie, you've just come back into the fray as well. I mean, what a nice way to start with an away trip. That must have been really good for bonding.
Yeah, it was nice to get a night away with everyone so that I could really get to know who I was going to be playing with, and sort of settle in with the group before the match day. So I really enjoyed the social time we had together.
And again, Anna, for you, like a bit of an old hand. You've obviously been with the club, and then you've been with the club at a young age, and then you've gone away. You've come back as well. How important was that for you settling in as an old new face, for want of a better word, with first up having your trip down to Cornwall?
Yeah, it was nice. I had an easier trip than the rest of the girls. It only took me around 50 minutes. So that was lovely. But it was lovely to catch up with all the girls. I haven't seen a few of them since the Plymouth game, so it was nice to properly talk to them and find out how they've been doing that season. So yeah.
And so, ladies, obviously the second half, we talked about the second half. Oh, sorry, the first half being their keeper being busy and us getting lots of chances. Second half, I'm told, was pretty much of a muchness as per the first. But you had to wait until the 88th minute for Lanes and Annie, who have linked up so many times. I mean, let's bring you two in. Lanes, talk us through the goal, because obviously you were on assist duty again, and a familiar pattern to that goal.
Yeah, it was kind of like first half. Annie just kept shouting at me to hit the ball to cross it in first time, because I just couldn't find her. She just stood behind a man or something. I don't know. It wasn't the bad balls, but second half, I just hit it first time, hit the crossing first time, and she finished it. It was good.
And we are literally talking sort of like the old routine. Whereabouts were you, Annie, when you finished? Was it sort of pinpoint you were inside the 6-yard box as per, so poacher's goal, or did you have a bit of work to do?
No, pretty much 6-yard box, ball come across, hit it first time, and it went bottom corner.
They must have been absolutely devastated, because for St Austell, that would have been a huge point for them, wouldn't it, really, given their struggles in the league this season?
Yeah, I think they were disappointed, because obviously such a late goal, it's always going to be heartbreaking for the team on the receiving end of that. But I think throughout the game, it's sort of inevitable that we were going to score. It was just about actually finishing the chances that we had. And also, Lanes, those balls, you were hitting it against the defender, they never even came in the box.
You've got to stand in front of your first man.
It was hitting the left back. It wasn't even coming in the box.
Leave me alone. The pitch was slanted.
Honestly, who the fuck cares how they felt? We won last minute.
All right.
Just excuse us.
Who gives a shit?
Cool, Angry Joe.
He's taken after Lanes.
So, but good again. Like, it's been form of late, ladies, has been a little bit stuttery, isn't it? And with an influx of new faces, I'm guessing doesn't matter. Like, I guess the result was more important than the the 3 points were more important than the result. The result was more important than the performance, and so on and such like. We move, as the youth of today like to say. Silence. So, Lanes, listen, let's get back to the question, shall we? Congratulations, though, to the 5 of you. Cracking points on the road. Like you said, at the end of the day, listen, playing on a pitch like that, absolute cabbage patch, ridiculous slant. A team like them, you know, they're gonna. I think the men's we're going to talk about late in Orient, and the men's results. We've done typically better against better teams this season. The men's team, where they're a little bit more adventurous. They're like, you know, they're not as kind of cautious in defence. And I'm going to imagine that St Austell were pretty cautious at times, getting bodies behind the ball. So to go all that way, stay overnight, culturally, that's going to be quite a shift for you this season. To come away with 3 points in the bag. Congratulations to the 5 of you. Yeah, keep it up, guys. But back to the questions. Lanes, hope you've got this next one locked and loaded.
I have. So my question's for everybody. I can't relate because I'm such a pleasant player to play against. But what is the worst thing you've ever said to an opponent? Okay, Mia, you go first then.
You've not actually gone verbatim there, Lanes, have you? Because the actual listener's question was, what's the filthiest thing you've said to an opponent?
Sorry.
So
Mia,
no, not at all. So that's open to interpretation, ladies. I will remind you all that we are after the watershed.
Mia, you go first.
I couldn't pick one out, if I'm honest with you. There's probably a few things.
Oh. Mia, are you what sort of player are you? Are you suggesting you're an absolute shithouse?
I'm a little bit. I get a little bit angry sometimes.
She does. I won't have that in my team. Never.
She scares me at training. She shouts a lot.
I don't tolerate that behaviour.
Sorry,
what's your most recent slur, Mia?
Oh, it was actually quite good on Sunday. I didn't say anything. So there was one time, actually, I got a red card in my last game at my JUCO because the other team scored a goal and the linesman called it offside, but the ref didn't see, and I was screaming like, "Ref, he's got his fucking flag up!" And then he gave me a red card, and I was so confused. And then everyone came up to me at the end and said, "Mia, did you call the ref a fucking faggot?" And I was like, "No."
Wow.
Yeah.
So what? The ref made it up that you'd called him a rude name.
I think people misheard what I said, and then.
Right.
But I didn't actually say that. I wouldn't say that. But yeah.
Tricky one, that one.
Yeah.
It's the accent. I just love your accent. It's a little bit like that, isn't it? And yeah, there's two sides to that coin.
Oh, she does that at training as well. She'll be like, "Where's the locker room?"
Oh, shut up.
Or she'll be like, "Where are the cleats?" And you're like, "Mia, what?"
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding. Mia's
I know
literally.
what I was going to say right now.
Mia's gone local.
So we've got GPSs, and she's like, "Where's my tracker?"
Come on, Mia. What else have you picked up? Are you? Do you enjoy a juice box?
I do. I'm quite partial to a juice box.
Very good.
No, obviously I say shin guards. I say cleats. We were talking about it at training as well. I say zucchini instead of courgette.
Oh, Mia,
don't worry.
We've got to reclaim you.
Hannah's is always taking the mick out of my accent as well.
Well, come on, Chris. Like I've said to you many times, you put the no in Northerner. It's absolutely beautiful, your accent. Right, so that's Mia. How about you, Anna? What's the filthiest thing that you said to an opponent?
I don't really say much. I know if I ever say anything.
Anna, that's not true. KP's told me all about you. He said you're a right dark horse.
KP's probably referring to when I first signed for Swindon. He saw that I was the only person in the league to get a sin bin. So that's probably what he's referring to. I remember I think I disagreed with the ref's decision, and I thought there was a foul on me, but he gave it to the other team. So I just launched the ball in the other direction.
It sounds like another flag up incident there that Mia counted.
I actually didn't say anything. I just kicked the ball and he instantly put me in a sin bin. But Yeah, I don't normally say much because I know to never pick on someone bigger than me, and most people in the league are bigger than me.
So, Anna, let's just clarify. Like when you said you booted the ball in the other direction, was it a proper John Smith's Avett, or was
it wasn't that bad. I think I was just frustrated. You know, when you just kick it a little bit and it goes further than you think it does.
I've got KP telling me right now that I've just thrown him under the bus, Anna.
No, I remember when I first signed, he mentioned it straight away, so he won't let me forget that.
Sorry, ladies, don't let me steal your thunder, but you've got one more of the ladies to go. So, Charlie, what's the filthiest thing you've said to an opponent?
To be fair, I do like to get at a ref and try and.
You never.
Sway,
you don't give me that impression,
try and sway
Charlie.
their decision where I can. But I think the worst, and I'm not proud of this, but I do remember vividly one time threatening to cut someone's ponytail off while we were playing, and I think that's probably the worst one.
How are you going to do that then? How would you follow through with that threat?
Well, it was more of a promise than a threat, but
Okay.
I was just like, mate, leave out or I'll cut your fucking ponytail off, and then that was it.
I know where you live.
Oh, that's absolutely tremendous.
Awful
I'd love
player.
to have been there for that. What was the expression on her face, Charlie?
I don't really remember. I wasn't that bothered.
How many times did Harry McCurdy get that last year for Swindon? Keep going, I'll cut your fucking ponytail off. Guarantee.
Yeah, Voldemort would have given him that. Yeah, Kevin Ellison, I hope you're listening. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that he would have said that to him. Oh, that's tremendous. I'll cut your ponytail off. I love it. Charlie, I've got a question for you. Isn't it true that Forest Green are just a pub team from Cheltenham?
Absolutely not. I prefer not to speak.
Mourinho gifts all over the place, is it that? Right, what we got? Joe, you got the next one?
Yeah, I do. So this one is for Mia. Mia, tell us about Bryony Hurd.
Oh no, you've totally misread that,
No?
Joe. It's a play on words, isn't it?
What?
So Mia,
Yeah.
the question is, Mia, tell us what Bryony Hurd.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, my fault.
I don't know. What did Bryony
Now,
hear?
I don't know. That's open to interpretation. Tell us what Bryony heard.
I don't know what she heard.
I don't know. Discuss it amongst yourselves.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get her surname's Bryony Hurd. I get that, but
It did sound like you did.
I don't know.
Well, again, discuss it amongst yourselves, ladies. What has Bryony heard?
Well, everybody's heard that the bird is the word.
Don't even start that. That'll be in my head now.
So nobody's sure what Bryony heard.
Well, you have to sing it since you didn't last week.
No, I got a jumper actually.
We sang, if you didn't see.
Yeah, Chris, they did sing. They were better late than
did.
never. They were singing on the pitch.
Can we get a song going for Bryony to the tune of Bird is the Word?
You can start it.
Everybody heard about the Bryony Hurd. Herdy heard her bird. No, I don't know. I don't know whether I make that work without someone accusing me of being sexist.
What? No. That's not none of that. Leave it with me, everyone. I'll get it going.
Chris, you've got the next one.
This one's for Anna. Isn't it true pasties from Devon are as fake as trying to label calzone a pasty?
I know in Devon they're a massive thing, but I can't comment on it. I've never had one. But everyone at uni raves about it, so I might have to try one before I leave. I've got a year to try it.
Would you agree, Anna, that pasties from Devon, however, are fake pasties?
Well, I think the Cornwall ones are better. Didn't they start down in Cornwall?
Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere with
so
this.
they must be not as good as the ones. Devon mustn't be as good as Cornwall ones.
Well, see, I don't know how you lot feel, but any club that puts Ginsters on the front of their shirt that sort of seems to suggest that they sell pasties, it feels a bit sweaty, try hard to me.
And you need to try a pasty in the Legends.
Yeah, that's
I
very
don't
true.
think you do. They're not great.
But, Joe, you godless heathen.
Do you know what?
Right,
I
Anna,
actually think...
Anna's got to come and join us on Saturday. She's got to eat a pasty on buying.
To be fair, the pasties, I think I had one. I think they gave me a vegan one. And, genuinely, it was
They're
absolutely...
sensational, Joe. Those pasties are probably the best thing we do, to be fair.
Charlie, it was absolutely gopping. It was horrible.
Wash your mouth out.
No!
I've had the bacon and leek pasty is a work of art.
Oh, yeah, but this one was like bacon-ish and probably even fake leek. Honestly, I'm not having it. Sorry.
Joe, at the end of the day, yours has. If you, I don't know, it's non-alcoholic. You're not going to like it anyway.
I'll have a vegan vodka pasty.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now we're getting somewhere. So we've got what Brian. We've had a conversation about pasties. We've asked the ladies what Bryony's heard, and we've still not worked it out. And you're trying to work it out, Joe, in the background, whether or not you can put some song lyrics to it. Lanes, you've got the next question.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Barnesy, this is for you. Can you describe your dream match day? So, like your morning routine.
Obviously with Swindon, wake up, probably have some cereal, and then make pasta for the journey down. I think I prefer an away game to a home game, and then just get some good tunes in the dressing room, and then just get out on the pitch. Good warm up, good intensity. I do like some music whilst we're doing the warm up. Some stadiums have that, so I think that brings the vibe. And then just obviously get out there and win the 3 points.
Who's the dressing room DJ, Anna?
Was it Bouds on Sunday? I think it was.
And are you accepting of Bouds, the skipper? Are you accepting of her music, or is there a better option?
No, her music was good. She accepted everyone's suggestions, so it was a mixture of everything, which was quite nice. But at uni, I'm the DJ in the change room, so maybe we'll have a bit of competition. Yeah.
Go on, Anna. And what? So talk us. Give us a 5-track playlist. Just a little cheeky 5-track.
I'm gonna have to go on my Spotify. 1 second.
Yeah, that's all right. That's allowed. Does someone want to play some hold music while we're doing this bit? Joe, now's
Joe
the
can
time.
sing.
Oh, well, I heard is the word. Oh, well, I heard's the word. I don't know. Well, don't you know about the word? Well, everybody knows that the herd is the word. Oh, well, I heard's the word. Oh, well, I heard surfing herd.
So,
anyone that's just joined in the past minute must be so confused. And to be honest, I am as well, and I've been here the whole time.
I'm not being funny.
Gabs will be gutted that someone's taking his job.
I've shared a piece with Bryony. She's going to be over the moon with that, let me tell you, that she's finally got a song. And we can belt that out of the terrace. She'll be over the moon with that. Anna, are you ready with your top 5?
I'm definitely going to clip that.
Fuck's sake.
It's going to be my new ringtone. Have we not? Go on, Anna. Hit us with your top 5.
Big City Life. Going Bad by Drake. Holiday by KSI. Remember by Becky Hill, and any AJ Tracey song.
I'm also going to do a shameless Becky Hill name drop, Anna. A shameless. Becky Hill and I were rubbing shoulders a mere week ago, or weeks ago, sorry, rather. Joe, you've seen the photo evidence, haven't you?
Photoshopped evidence.
Sorry, I have. I was tweeting. Sorry, I was sending a tweet. Yeah, I have. To be fair, it's a decent little name drop.
She's a delight. Let me tell you, Becky Hill, what an absolute delight she is. Exactly what she says on the tin is all I would say. A delightful girl next door quality, bubbly personality, and a beautiful singing voice. All right, what else we got? Who we got next? I think it's you, isn't it, Ellis?
Yeah, I think so.
This is a belter. Mia, keep your ears pricked open for this one.
Yeah, this is a question for all of you. So we'll start like this. It is illegal in Texas to do what to your neighbour's cow? I'll repeat that again. It is illegal in Texas to do what to your neighbour's cow? We'll start with you, Mia.
Mia is totally stumped by
Yeah,
that.
like what?
Well, we've asked about American idiocy. This is pretty idiotic. If someone was to do this, I'm struggling.
So what
you
is
get
it
yourself-
illegal to do to your neighbour's cow in Texas?
Now, you don't mess with Texas for a start, Mia, do you?
No.
So, you know, you know it's going to be a pretty, you know, it's open to interpretation, but still.
I don't know. Ride it.
Riding a cow.
I mean,
your neighbour's cow, riding your neighbour's cow.
I mean, that might be illegal, but that's not the answer that we've got.
That's not the answer, but I do like the idea of being arrested for getting on your neighbour's cow and riding it.
Anna?
Take milk from your neighbour's cow?
Again, probably also illegal, but that's not the answer that we've got.
The stealing of milk, yeah, that's also good.
And Charlie?
Is it illegal to sing to the neighbour's cow?
They're very good.
If you've got a voice like Joe, then yeah.
If you've got a voice like Joe, it's illegal to sing to anyone. Ellis, can I have an answer, please?
Of course you can, Joe.
So I'm thinking, because it's Texas, is it illegal to put your neighbour's cow into a beauty pageant?
I would imagine there's some kind of animal cruelty law involved there, although it is Texas, so they probably don't care. They probably shoot it anyway.
Yeah. Well, all four answers were top answers, but the correct answer was to graffiti your neighbour's cow.
How about that? Graffiti your neighbour's cow. Now, I'll put this question to you: that if you were Banksy, wouldn't you want to accept the challenge? Can you imagine waking up? You're a farmer. You wake up the next day, one of your cows has got a Banksy on it. What would you do?
100%. Well, personally, I would paint it all white and then put a horn on its head.
Would you? I'd be tempted to put it in some kind of glass structure, you know, and sell tickets to come and view it, like a graffitied cow. Like, just, well, interesting. Anyway, we digress. Annie, you've got the next question.
Yes, I do. So this is one to all three of you. Are you a raver or a hippie? Anna, do you want to go first? I wouldn't say I'm either, but I go to prison most Wednesdays with uni, so I'd probably say more of a raver. That gives more raver vibes than hippie vibes.
Nice.
Mia?
Yeah, again, I'm probably not either, but I would say raver.
Nice.
And Charlie?
Well, I know you're already going to come for me about Forest Green being hippies. So don't even start, because I know that's what you're going to say. So, yes, fine, I'm slightly hippie, whatever. But I also have an equal amount of raveness in me, it's fine.
You got a foot in both camps,
Absolutely.
Charlie, is what you're saying. Right, okay. Well, we beg to differ. But, you know, listen, this is Swindon Town. Welcome to raver country, lady. Lanes, you've got the next question along a similar theme.
I do. So mine is for all of you, and it is, what is your go-to karaoke song? Mia, I think I've actually seen you do karaoke on a night out, to be fair.
Yeah, I love a little bit of Starbar. But my go-to karaoke song is 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton.
Oh, bang.
Yeah.
Can you sing it for us?
Absolutely not. I have to get
Yeah, you see, listen, Mia, listen,
That's not fair.
You don't know what you're turning down. You don't know what you're turning down. As the ladies will tell you, if you sing on this show, the prizes can be pretty epic.
Yeah, very nice hoodie, Mia.
Oh,
very nice.
All right.
Do it.
Come on, Mia.
Okay, let me...
Just the opening.
Okay. Tumbled out of bed and I stumbled in the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
Yes.
I
Keep
love
going.
that, Mia.
Jump in
Keep
the shower,
going.
blood starts pumping, out on the street and traffic starts jumping, and folks like me on the job from 9 to 5.
Now we're all together now.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Barely.
This is the first time we've ever had a sing-along on the Tom Broadbent Lounge.
Absolutely beautiful. If you can't have a sing-along in the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge, then we can't call it the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge. Mia, that was absolutely beautiful. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mia. Barnesy?
I'm not sure. I'd probably go Beautiful Girls.
Nice.
Again, we need another sing-song.
I actually am really bad. I don't know the words. I can't sing it without the backing track.
You're way too beautiful, girls. There we go.
That's it, champ.
Carry on. Carry
Keep
on.
singing, champ. Keep singing. Your next opponent is quaking in his boots.
Your next
that's
opponent's
me
getting
done
that in
there.
a clip and a WhatsApp message.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Anna's laughing so hard she's actually muted her mic.
To quote Rick Mail on the anniversary of his birthday, I did mine, you bastard. It's your turn.
So, are you? I don't want to embarrass you any further, Anna. Are you struggling to sing?
Yeah, I'll have to tap out from the singing. That's not my speciality.
Oh, you've done so well. Well, so far Mia is stealing everyone's thunder, but I've got a feeling. I think we all know what might be coming. What do you reckon, Charlie?
Okay, my karaoke song is Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Oh yeah.
Not to try
Another
and one
Dolly
up the
Parton.
9 to 5. That is also a great Dolly song, but Jolene just hits different.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And it would only be the right thing to do, Charlie, for you to give us a verse.
Okay.
I like that. Cleared
Yes.
the larynx and everything.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. There you are. That's what you get.
Is that all we
Yeah.
get?
Come on, a little bit
You
more.
were absolutely bossing that,
That's
Charlie.
all she really says, though.
I'm begging you, please don't. In fact, we should get Mia to sort of click the classic Alabama here.
Hannah's, you sound
And-
like Cletus from Simpsons then.
What do you reckon, Mia? Could you give us a little twist of sort of like a little bit of Alabama in that and just sort of round off the verse?
Oh, I can give it a go.
Yeah, go on. It's a banger. It deserves
Okay.
it.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
Oh, that's absolutely outstanding. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
2 out of the 3 of you. Very, very deserving. You've both won yourself a limited edition Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge hoodie. Congratulations.
Hang on a minute. I had a little sing-song as well.
Well, you did as well, Ellis, but you're doing all right on the hoodie
Yeah,
stage.
I am, yeah.
So, you need to calm it down, champ.
I'll start punching people in a minute.
Yeah, but Anna, don't worry. There's still a few questions left for you to redeem yourself, and you may still end up with a Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge hoodie, as beautiful a garment as it is. Ellis, you've got the next question.
I do. Sorry, I was a little bit flustered from all the singing. Another sort of a fun question here. True or false, you can sneeze in your sleep? We'll start with you, Anna.
True.
Okay. I won't tell you the answer until we got all of them. Mia?
False.
And Charlie?
I'm going true.
Wow, we've got one winner. Mia, it is false.
Oh,
Yeah, how mad is that? You can't actually sneeze in your sleep. So whoever it was that was rooming with Gypsy and her boyfriend, they weren't sneezing.
That sounds like a challenge, Hannah's. I'm going to go sneeze in my sleep tonight.
Joe, move us along.
Okay, swiftly from bedtime sneezing. So this is for all of you. When did you last cheat on a football pitch? We'll start with you, Charlie. And did you chop any ponytails off?
When did I last cheat?
Yeah, when did you last cheat?
Okay. I think the last time I cheated on a football pitch, I didn't chop any ponytails off that time, but I definitely did dive in the box and won a penalty.
Did you go down easy, Charlie? Is that a better word?
No, I wouldn't say I went down easy, but I definitely could have stayed up.
Oh, so there was contact.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
I had one of those
And
under
what-
16s where I literally, it was the worst dive ever, and I got given a penalty for it. And I mean, the defender was absolutely fuming. I scored it, and then I told the referee I dived.
Oh,
I think I might have got
that's
booked
very
for it.
honest.
I might have got booked for it, but the goal counted, so it is what it is. Mia, when was the last time you cheated on the football pitch?
I don't know. I don't think I have cheated.
Yes, you have.
No,
Spirit, Mia.
I don't. I don't think. I don't. I think it's a bit.
We
If I cheat,
we
it's
breed
really
pure hearts in Wiltshire.
If I cheat, it's really obvious. I'm not the smallest of people, so to knock me down, it's quite difficult. So then, if I fall down, then it's just not believable.
What about professional fouls? I'd borderline that as cheating.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm quite intrigued. Like you've just described yourself falling down there, Mia. Would it be like watching a giraffe fall over, or is it more Bambi on ice? What kind of a fooler are you?
I go down like a sack of shit.
like a Led Zeppelin, down it comes.
Yeah, basically.
Well, Anna, save us from squeaky clean Mia. Have you ever had a cheating moment on the pitch? Or when was your last time?
I don't know if any of the girls saw it on the weekend, but so one of my friends from uni plays for St. Austell, and she won't stop saying it since the game, but the ball hit my foot and went out for a corner, but the ref gave a goal kick. Morgan was shouting at me for about 5 minutes of the game saying it hit my foot, and I kept saying no, it didn't. But yeah, we got the goal kick instead of a corner, but it did hit my foot.
Lied for your
You
teeth.
just straight face it, Anna, did you? Did you just straight face it, Anna? Nah, ref. Nah. Didn't touch me, ref.
The ref didn't question it, to be fair. I think if the ref did question it, I would have started laughing. So luckily he didn't question it.
Oh, so there's a little tip for us, Joe. Like we can never get Anna around a poker, or we need to get Anna around a poker table rather, but not on your team.
Yeah. Plant her on the other side.
Yeah. We'll take you to the cleaners, Anna, in the poker.
Okay.
To the cleaners. Chris, you've got the next question.
Right now, it's Desert Island time. And we'll start with you, Mia. But the question is, you can take one person from Lally or Alice Bowden. Who are you taking?
I can take Lally or Bowd.
Lally or Alice onto a desert island with you. One of the two.
I think I'd take Bowd.
Any particular reason?
I think she's a good laugh, so I know even if I die with her, then at least I'll die happy.
What you're trying to say that Lally's not a happy like not particularly good company or not a happy person? Is that what we're saying, Mia? You tell it saying your manager's a closet case?
I don't know. I don't know him that well yet, so I can't pick out an opinion on him. So I'll just go off what I know from Bowd.
All right, we'll kind of take that.
Okay, Anna, you're next.
I think I'd have to agree with Mia and go for Bowds. We ran away from Lally at the beach on Sunday because he started talking about science and to do with the rocks at the beach. So I think he'd bore me with all the science because he's a science teacher.
Oh,
he does look like a science teacher, actually. I didn't know that, but he does look like a science teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'd quite scared by Lally. If I tried to take the mick out of him, he'd probably lamp me. He's got that edge about him.
And Charlie, what about you?
I'm starting to feel a bit sorry for Lally now, but I probably would also choose Bowds because she is funny, and I feel like I would have more of a laugh than I would talking about, biology and stuff with Lally. But never mind.
I think it's only right and proper that we ask that question of Annie and Lane, seeing as they're both on the line.
I would take Bowds, definitely.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Lanes? Is it going to be a clean sweep?
Oh, no, I feel bad for Lally. Oh, if I have to take him, I'll take Lally.
Take one for the team.
I have to.
There you go, Lally. Lanes has got your back. Right, you got the next question, Annie.
Yes, I do. So this one's for all of you again. Can you describe Oxford using a single word, please? I'll go for Charlie first.
Shite.
Yeah, we'll take that one.
Gold star.
Mia.
Bollocks.
2 gold stars. Very good.
And Anna, can we get a clean sweep?
Rivals?
Oh, Anna, you had an open goal
That was
there.
pragmatic. That was
goal.
pragmatic.
It was.
Slide it about 2 centimeters off the line, Anna.
I sense that there's maybe some friend pressure or some personal pressure going on there, Anna. But you had an open goal there to achieve absolute Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge glory.
My parents are on this podcast. I can't swear.
I'll do it for you, twats.
My dad's listening and I've sworn twice, so Anna, you'll be fine.
I'm only 19.
Okay, can I put it to you like this? Does it start with a no, I won't go down that road. Your parents are listening. Let's keep it clean. Very good. Lanes, you've got the next question.
So mine's for all of you. So you can take the lead role in any movie. Who are you replacing and why? Mia?
Well, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so I would have to say Harry Potter.
I knew you were going to say that.
You know me too well.
A female Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'll be Hermione Granger.
Okay, that makes more sense.
How many times in America did you get asked about Harry Potter? Because I feel like they just with a British accent, they'd be like, "Oh, Harry Potter."
Yeah, and they always ask me if I know the Queen. Like, no.
Brilliant.
Do you know the Queen? Yeah, I had a relative have a sandwich bought for them out in the US when the Queen died, because they were like, we're really, really sorry to hear that, like, your country's mother has died, and it's a big deal, and they bought her a sandwich, which was nice. Anna, by the way, Jason has just tweeted, Anna, just to help you out on the last question, and he said the answer that you're looking for rhymes with runts. So, and I think we'll leave that to your imagination. But thank you, Jason, for your input, and apologies to Mr. and Mrs. Barnes. It didn't come out of Digger's mouth; it came out of mine.
Love that. It's like Scooby-Doo said it.
So we got so Mia, we've worked out you're Hermione Granger. Are you Hermione Granger kiss ass Hermione Granger in the first movie, or are you more sultry Hermione Granger right at the back end of the franchise?
I'm the one towards the end. I'm not a kiss ass.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I think we've all ascertained that. Particularly Lally has tonight as well. And we look forward to your position on the bench at the weekend, Mia, where we'll be taking lots of pictures and reminding you that you wouldn't go on a desert island with Lally. Who do we get to? Sorry, Joe. Who do we get to? We've got Mia. Mia's sorted. Who's next?
Charlie up next.
I also really like Harry Potter, but I'm not going to pick that one. But I think that was a good pick. My favourite film is The Blind Side, and I feel like maybe I would want to be in that just because it's my favourite film. But I don't know who I'd rather be out of Sandra Bullock or the big massive linebacker in the film. So
cool, yeah. But you're quite feisty, Charlie, aren't you? Quite feisty. I can see you being Bullock.
Yeah, I just love Sandra Bullock. Like, she's just my favourite person in the world, I think.
Yeah, you got to go with that. Give her the Bullock. Give her the Bullock. Which must mean we've got you left, Anna.
I think I'd go for Fat Amy from Pitch Perfect.
Oh, interesting choice. Talk through it.
I watch Pitch Perfect on like every week without fail, so she's just the best character on it, so I go for her.
And can you sing us any Fat Amy?
Sorry?
Can you sing us any of Fat Amy's favourite, the best lyrics?
She just normally embarrasses herself. She's not really one of the main singers. She's a bit of a rap.
Voice of an angel, though. What's your favourite Pitch Perfect song, Anna?
The one where it goes, I saw a sign.
Sorry, how does it go? Sorry. It usually sounds better when it's sung.
I only know that little bit. I'll sing that bit, but that's it.
Go on then.
I saw a sign.
Very good. Thank you, Anna. Very good.
I'm glad I wasn't asked that question, because I'd have said train spotting, and I'm not too sure who would want to be out of train spotting.
Yeah, but Joe, we've all seen you squatting on the toilet, like, you know, after a week of constipation.
Have we? Have I got to check for some like hidden cameras in my bathroom? What's happening there?
I haven't seen that.
Joe, you taking up pictures of yourself, mate, doing stuff like that. Don't worry, we've all seen it. We can circulate.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if all else fails, Chris is very good with a little bit of digital photography touching up. So be careful. What? Ellis. Oh, this is a crowd favourite from Ellis.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favourite cheese? Charlie, we'll start with you.
Obviously vegan cheese. Is that there?
Obviously, yeah.
And then when I'm not at work, it's probably camembert. Like, you know, when you dip something in like gooey camembert's top tier.
Oh,
Wow.
roast camembert. How
I'll
good.
tell you what, there are
Anna?
splinters of arses there.
Oh, sorry.
There is a little bit. I mean, to be fair, Charlie's been a proper godless heathen. That you give her an opportunity to talk about favourite cheese, and she hits you with, "I've got to go with a vegan cheese." A vegan cheese, Charlie. You're an absolute disgrace. You're speaking to the fine folks of Wiltshire that is famed for its fine cheese, particularly cheddar, and you hit us with some vegan cheese.
I know, but listen, I'm not risking a P45 for this podcast. But if I have to go with vegan cheese, then that's how it is.
It's fine. Dale's
See,
blocked. You can't listen.
But what's the problem with? I don't get. Look, I'm not a vegetarian. I'm going to hold my hands up here. What is the problem with cheese? Like, surely cheese is okay, right? It's not like, you know. Seems like the animal's quite happy to give you a bit of milk, you know. And then the milk itself is like, it's done its thing. It's whatever it does to create the cheese. The bit gets scraped off the top. Hey presto! No one's been.
If a cow doesn't get milk, is it not? Surely it's uncomfortable. So you're helping it. You're helping the animal.
As long as you're not graffitiing the cows, it's fine.
Charlie, we're helping you here. We're helping Mr. Vince. We're trying to help cows not feel utter discomfort.
You know what? I'll go into work tomorrow and I'll pitch it to him and I'll see what he says.
I take Duncan in with you as well, because I guarantee you he'll be your soulmate on this.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
100%. If you see that photo of Duncan with the vegan burger with Dale and his announcement, it is the funniest, most awkward picture of him holding a burger as far away from his mouth as he possibly can.
So, who's next on the cheesesteaks, Ellis?
We'll go with Anna. Anna, what's your favourite cheese?
I would back Charlie and camembert, but if I have to do another answer, I'd say the garlic cheese bites from Mackey's.
Yeah. Yes.
Ooh.
What a shout.
Your working man's cheese selection there, Anna. I've got a lot of time for that.
Considering like work at a Mackey's, I'll see if we've got any hidden in the freezer that I can nab and send your way.
Oh yes, please. When I found
they're doing the chili cheese bites. They're absolutely grim. Obviously, allegedly they're grim. I don't want to lose my job. But seriously,
Archie's just rocked up and he's been sacked already.
Yeah, Archie's first words are about.
No, seriously, I heard Mackey's get brought up. I was like, I'm literally professional on the topic here, but do not waste your time if you're listening with the chili cheese bites. They're not spicy. They are a lie.
You heard it here.
That's me. That's me done for the night.
Yeah. Bango's our multi-million-pound sponsorship deal with Mackey's Arch, and you know, any hope I've got of
they don't deserve to be partnered with the Tom Brewitt Lounge if they're putting out chili cheese bites like that.
Right. Mia, what's your favourite cheese?
I would say my favourite cheese is probably truffle brie.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, that's a culture.
We've had a good selection of cheeses here.
That's a bit posh.
When's the last time you had truffle brie, Mia?
A couple of months ago.
Very nice.
Class
setting. That sounds like the kind of thing you eat in Marlborough.
Well, my boyfriend's French, and you know, French with their cheeses, so he brought me some over to America.
Ah, very good.
Wow,
very good. And what's your boyfriend's name, Mia?
Nico.
Yep. Nico, you're welcome in the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge with your posh cheeses any day of the week. But for the three of you, for reference, the best cheese quite clearly in the world is Tintern, and that's all you need to know. Watch this. Watch the tweets light up now. People are going to be absolutely coming for me now.
Well, Hannah, can I tell you my favourite cheese?
Well, please do.
halloumi.
Oh, halloumi's
All right.
top end.
Controversial.
Halloumi cheese. You get a bit of halloumi cheese in a burger, not a vegan burger, normal burger with halloumi cheese. Wow.
Halloumi on the
Heaven.
barbecue cannot be beaten.
Well, Steve
Heaven.
Terrell has said, "What's wrong with a good Edam?"
Everything.
Yeah, Edam's not the one. Stilton's the one.
Stilton is the one. Right. What we got next? Chris, you're up with the next question.
Yeah, we're actually going to go a bit serious now for a change. Right. What are the biggest changes you've seen in the women's game during your times playing? We'll start with Anna.
I think it's massively changed. When I was little, there wasn't really many girls teams to play with, so I always played with the boys up until I was 16. Played with a few girls sides, but the leagues were just dreadful, if I'm being honest. We used to win like 10-0 every game. But now most teams have a women's side, which is amazing to see, and also the Euros help that massively. I went to watch the Euros final at Wembley, so seeing that was a massive influence for me, and I think that's massively changed the women's game.
Do you think, obviously, as well, that now that here at Swindon, that we've pulled the women's team into the men's, that's a massive step as well?
100%. The link that the women's team has with the men's team now is incredible. So hopefully that will get stronger and stronger throughout the years, and we'll see more improvements.
We talk a little bit. I don't want to kind of revert to cliche because, obviously last summer was pretty spectacular for the women's game. We talk about it a lot whenever the good ladies come on the show and talk about it. But obviously we've never had the opportunity to speak to you, Charlie, and you, Anna, and you, Mia, at all. I mean, Mia, you must have been. Were you out in the States at the time?
No, I was, but I came home for the summer.
You came home for the summer. So, I mean, as somebody that's obviously plying their trade in the women's game, and obviously there's been a huge, I mean, the news today was incredible. I think it was like £600 million has been invested into grassroots women's football. Just try and kind of give the listener an idea, like what was going on in your head in the summer when the ladies have won the tournament, and in the style that they did, dispatching the quality of opposition that they did on the way to the final and then in the final. What must have been going through your mind?
It was just exciting to see it, really, and just know that that the women were the ones to bring it home, and and just make a difference to women's football, because it was going to happen.
And it's a really interesting point you make there about the women being the ones that sort of bring it home, because we talk about kind of like 40 odd years of hurt now in the men's game, and what was lovely was you really did, speaking as somebody that that at the time was struggling to adopt the women's game. I don't mind telling you, I was fairly kind of blinkered in my approach, and my eyes, as Lanes and Annie will tell you, we've had many conversations about how those kind of blinkers have been well and truly ripped off. But there was that brilliant sense of what I hope you would get from the men winning a tournament. It didn't matter that it was whether it's the men or the women. The fact is, this huge tournament had been won by our nation at Wembley in front of a packed house. There really was that wonderful feel-good feeling that sort of washed across football, wasn't there? And indeed the country.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Charlie? I mean, what did it mean to you? Sort of, how did it feel to you when the Lionesses sort of lifted the trophy and in such spectacular style as well? I mean, obviously the first goal was truly fantastic. Talk us through it. What was going off in your mind?
Yeah, I think similar to what the other girls have said, it's obviously as a woman in sport and a woman playing football, you have an immense sense of pride seeing it. But I think it was more in the back of my head. I was thinking about all the young girls that were watching it that sort of got to see that at a stage which would then motivate them to maybe stay in football that we potentially didn't have at our age. So them seeing that on the telly and the amount of coverage it got is something that I wish I definitely had when I was younger.
And Anna, as somebody that's still obviously, very, very young, I don't know, it's an interesting perspective for me as an old duffer. I mean, I'm at the back end of my 40s now, so I've seen this incredible kind of evolution, but I also kind of very kind of vividly recall there being kind of, women's football being not even an afterthought. Like, it's come so far in such a short space of time. Your perspective must be very different just based on age alone. But how did it feel for you?
Massive, definitely. I remember when I was younger, there still wasn't much women's football on the TVs or like accessible. But the past few years, it's become so much easier to watch women's football, follow women's football. Like, the advertisement has been like pushed so much more, and then obviously winning the Euros, that feeling was incredible. I mean, my dad was buzzing. He was like, "Oh, haven't seen England win anything since he's been alive." So just to see an England team win something is quite special.
I think that's kind of what I was trying to tap into earlier, Annie, sort of thinking about your dad's response there. I think it was like, I hope I've still got many a year left on this good planet of ours, but it does sort of start to cross your mind as you start getting a bit older. You start thinking about, hang on, am I actually going to see anything in my, any particular breakthroughs in my lifetime? I often think, will I ever see Swindon Town back in the top flight in my lifetime? Will I see us lift some sort of significant silverware? Will I ever see England win a major tournament? And I think, I was quite happy to be able to say, you know what, I've seen England win a major tournament. I can honestly say that I've seen England win a major tournament, and we got that feeling as well.
I quite enjoyed having the boys over and just getting absolutely hammered and then not ending up crying afterwards. So, that was a highlight. I think as well, on that point, we moan as football fans about Sky Sports kind of, ruining the Premier League a little bit, taking away a lot of the want or need to go to games. But Sky Sports probably have helped the women's game a massive amount in this country by taking on the WSL and giving it the coverage that it needs. There are kids growing up these days that are watching Soccer AM, and they're seeing the goals of the weeks being a mix between the Premier League, the WSL, Championship, games abroad as well. It's much more in the spotlight, isn't it, these days? Like, growing up, I vaguely remember watching a women's game in maybe a World Cup. I think Germany beat England like 7-3 or something. In probably like 2010. I think I remember Alex Scott playing. But that was literally it.
I've got really sketchy memories, Joe, of like growing up. The first sort of, the first memories I've got of women's football were probably when I was in my late teens, and it was Doncaster Bells and names like Marianne Spacey, and then it just seemed to, like, the women's game drifted away. It was like they had a little go, trying to raise the profile, but it was all a little bit half-assed. I think you're right about what Sky have done.
Sky have massively improved it. They've made academies too. So like, there are young girls now that have got a real chance to have an academy upbringing in the sport, which just never existed 10, 15 years ago. Like, Reading started playing at Farnborough, using Farnborough as their stadium, obviously, which is where I live, about 9 years ago. And we started going to a few of the games, and I'm not trying to be horrible or rude. It was semi-pro at the time, and you had players like Frank Kirby playing, who obviously they stuck out like a sore thumb, but the general standard was really bad. But just gradually over time, the younger players in the game, like, the improvement on a whole is groundbreaking, and it's purely because of the money you're putting into the sport at grassroots level.
I mean, I think the thing that I'm most enjoying, just speaking just from a pure Swindon Town perspective, is I really like the fact now that my weekend, if I choose to have it that way, can just be Swindon Town Saturday, Swindon Town Sunday, and then we start another week. Like, it's really, I'm really starting to kind of get that vibe, and I'm at that stage where, when we first started following the you lovely ladies on your adventures, like, where I was like, oh, I'm really struggling to remember everyone's name now. I've got to a stage where I can remember everyone's name, and I can remember the positions, and it makes sense to me now. It kind of feels like it's all part of the fabric. So thank you for that, guys. Because and to Joe's point, we've come and seen you several times this season. and the standard's grand. You know, like is it like watching the men's Premier League? No, of course it's not. But it's to anyone that's not gone out and made a point of watching you and enjoyed the fare that you guys are serving, I thoroughly recommend that you get off your asses over at the next county ground game, get yourself down to Foundation Park, just literally use that as all the excuse that you need. But while we're on that, I mean, who wants to step in from the ladies' side? We've been talking a lot. Tell us a little bit about the weekend, guys, just before we move on to our penultimate question. Who have you got the weekend? Where is it?
We've
I'll take
got
of you.
Selsey at the weekend, and it's at Fairford.
So we're home to Selsey, and you've got there's a bit of retribution you'll be seeking there, Lanes, because they turned you over earlier in the season, didn't they?
They did. They won 3-1. I mean, that was our first game of the season. I think we probably could have got a point. I don't know, maybe, but no. I remember talking to
you after the game, Lanes. You were really, really disappointed with that. Like, it was one of those where I think you went into it sort of half expecting, not that you were complacent, but I think you were half expecting a win if you guys sort of put your best foot forward, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so. We played them again in the League Cup, and won. So, I mean, anything could happen really this weekend.
Lanes is going to get in a fight.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely happen.
Actually, being nicer on the pitch now, I decided.
Yeah. Fighty Lanes. And also at Fairford, have you got any trees? Because if you have, keep Charlie away from them.
Very good.
There's a few.
Very good.
I definitely don't let any of the cheese buffet. Well, actually, there won't be any vegan cheese, so you'll get away with that. I've got your next question, Charlie. Again, it's quite a serious one, but are there any changes, this to all of you, are there any changes that you would make to improve the structure and or standing of the women's game? And I'll go with Charlie first.
I think everything that's changing is really positive, and it's hard to sort of put your 2 pence in when you can see so much positive change at the moment. But I definitely think trying to encourage the local sides to encourage their fans to include their women's team in their setup, and sort of if you're a fan of a local league and a local side in your hometown, then try and see what their women's team are doing and try and support that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Charlie, I've got to agree. We had Tom Hartley on the show earlier in the season, and Tom completely agreed. I just said, look, speaking from a fan's perspective, I think it's absolutely critical that you guys, I understand there are some logistical challenges to playing, like, you know, doing more double headers at the county ground. But, you know, I think it's really important that you are seen to be playing your games in the spiritual home of Swindon, like on that estate, whether that be at Foundation Park or whether that be on the county ground pitch. I just think as a kind of mental step for any football fan, I have such a strong attachment to the county ground and to that estate that I would want to come and watch football there. And certainly if the football being played involves a team in red with our crest on their chest, then I'm going to want to come and watch you. I think that's hugely important. So a very valid point, Charlie, and thank you for that. What about you, Mia? Are there any changes that you would make to improve the structure and or standing of the women's game?
No, I really agree with what Charlie said, actually. I think if you try and do too much at once, then it's just going to become too much. So I think as it's going pretty good right now.
Oh, good on you, Mia. And how about you, Anna? Any changes that you could make to improve the structure or standing of the women's game?
Yeah, same as the other girls, to be fair. Probably the only other thing to change would be like more advertisement, just in any of the leagues, to be fair. Just get it out there more. I think more people need to hear about it before any other changes are going to happen.
Do you think as, I mean, we've talked about the WSL, you know, enjoying the kind of profile that it does via Sky. Do you think that enough is done locally for, like, take Swindon Town, for example? Do you think the message is pushed out there enough locally?
It's getting better, 100%. Like the back mid, the men's team, they retweet some of the games and stuff like that. But just maybe more social media aspects and stuff like that would definitely help push it a bit more.
Yeah, need to get on that Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge, ladies, and do some bits with those guys. They're a bit filthy, though. Some of their questions are a bit out of order. They make you sing as well, from what I understand. And speaking of which, Joe, you've got the final question for all 5 of our ladies.
I do indeed. I was just going to say on the last point as well about the changes in, women's football and especially at Swindon Town. This season's the only time I've ever seen like little girls wearing shirts with like number 6 Bowden on the back of them, which is, I mean, for Annie, for Annie, I'll get a shirt with your name on the back of it. Don't worry. For Alice, like that must be such an amazing feeling to see a little girl in the shape of our favourite Swindon fan, Casey Paul, wearing a Bowden 6 shirt. Like, that's kind of surreal, isn't it? For a women's player at Swindon Town, like that's just not something that we'd have expected 2 or 3 years ago. And that's a massive credit to Clem and Rob getting involved with bringing the women's team over to Swindon Town and uniting us as one club, but also to the work that Keelan, James, Tom, like all the team over there are doing as well. So, and
also people like Adam, Woody, the guys that all came before as well.
Yeah, it's a legacy. It's a legacy that's come together, and I think there are a lot of people at the football club that have worked really hard for that moment, and I just think it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing.
I don't know how you, Lanes, Annie, how you guys feel about this, but I think a lot of that kind of it's a bit of a virtuous circle, that kind of stuff, isn't it? The more you kind of put yourselves out there, the more you allow people to relate to you. I mean, we've had a bit of fun with you tonight. It's certainly not been, dry questions. It's all about trying to understand you as personalities and sort of connect with you as personalities. I think the more you do that kind of stuff, the more you give opportunities for people to actually become your fans. I don't know whether you would agree or disagree.
Yeah, I agree. Like, stuff like this as well gives people more exposure to the people that play for Swindon Town Women. So the more they get to know us, and we can create the fan base that can come and watch us regularly as well.
Well, here, and long may it continue. But so, Joe, you've got the final question, the honour of asking all 5 of our ladies the final question. It's a big one, ladies. So bring your A game to the table, because this is sort of you're messing with folklore right now.
Yeah. So this is to each of you, and I'll ask you separately. Don't look for clues in the followers list or the listeners list. I will ask that. Charlie, up first. What do wise men say?
They say, "I've got some frankincense and myrrh." Is that wise men?
I mean, yeah, I guess depends if you're reading the Bible, but yeah.
Oh, Charlie, you've been spending too much time in Gloucester.
I think Lanes will get this one.
We'll give it to Lanes after, but me.
Oh, if I sing it, do I get the hoodie again?
I know this one.
Another.
Well.
Yeah, I know it, but I'm not singing.
Oh, okay.
Well, you just
Mia. What do wise men say?
Fools rushing.
Because
I can't help
falling in love with you.
That is perfect.
Yeah, I think if you can all sing the remainder of that song through to the clappy part, we will all think that is the perfect way to finish this segment. Would you not agree, Joe?
It would be, but it's just one word.
Right, well, so, ladies,
Come on.
I will start. Take my hand. Oh, no.
Hey, what?
Take my
hand. Whole life too.
That's it. Sing it to me.
I can't help falling in love with you.
Yeah.
Swindon.
Congratulations, ladies. So, Mia, how was that for you? Your Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge debut. How was it?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. You're an absolute charmer. We really look forward to meeting you in person, Mia. We've got some really exciting plans with the ladies team. Some stuff that we've kind of established the formula. So we're going to be seeing you very, very soon. Charlie, how was that? Welcome back to the club, Charlie. All leg pulling aside. You've been a brilliant sport tonight. How was that for you?
Yeah, slightly embarrassed, but yeah, I loved it. It was really good.
You were game for a laugh, Charlie, and we very much appreciate it. And our precocious Anna Digger Barnes, how was it for you, Digger?
Yeah, it's good, thank you. I'm sure Lane's going to agree. It brought out my socially awkward 16-year-old back. So yeah.
You did brilliantly, Digger. You did brilliantly, and we very much look forward to meeting you in person as well, Anna. So Anna, Mia, Charlie, brilliant debuts from the three of you. Thank you so much for joining us. And to our guest panelists who will allow to drift off into the night now, Annie and Lanes, like we said, poacher term gamekeepers tonight. How was that for you?
Good, just the regulars we are now, aren't we?
You are, and you're very welcome. You are too. But thank you for oiling the works and making your teammates so comfortable in the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge tonight. We appreciate that you are all up early. We've got for the benefit of the five of you, Annie and Lanes, you'll know this anyway, but we've got plenty more left on the show. So please feel free, if you can stay on, you can join, you can just listen in, or you can disappear off into the night. But Lanes, Annie, as well as the other three, thank you so much for your contributions tonight. Very appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. All the best. Joe, Chris, Ellis, Arch joining us slightly later. Good sports, weren't they?
Absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful.
It's been a really
Wonderful
good
voices as well.
It's been a really good first half of the show.
Very good first half. So moving on to the second half of the show then, guys. Without further ado, Ellis is going to be leading us through what was a truly... I was delighted to welcome you to my hometown. So many of you wonderful Wiltshire folk came up to the Smoke on Saturday. And what a great time we all had together. We took over a few pubs. We certainly took over... Well, we filled the ground for them, as we reminded them on many occasions during the game itself. But Ellis, without me to steal your thunder, the stage is yours, buddy. What have you got for us?
So, well, I watched on iFollow. I couldn't get a ticket, but yeah. So I stayed at home, watched it on iFollow.
How did you watch an iFollow, Ellis? Isn't that illegal still in the UK?
No,
Ellis actually took a trip
because
to New
I
York.
actually I was in South Africa for the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you to our sponsors today, NordVPN.
Yeah, I actually travelled to South Africa just to watch.
Yeah, very very honest of you, Ellis. Very honest of you.
Yeah.
So town. Obviously, it was quite interesting when we looked at the line. I got to tell you, like, as the BBC lineup rolled in, they were as confused as I think some of our faces were stood in the pub at the time.
Well, Mark, I was stood next to you when the team came in, and Harrison Minter was playing right wing.
Yeah, we had Minter right wing, which had us sort of stood there scratching our heads, but they managed to sort things out in the end. And obviously, we went with Solbrin in goal. We had Harrison Minter and Tom Clayton and Joe Tomlinson making up a back three. Romeo Hutton, George McEachran, Dylan Cadgy, and Reece Devine making his first league start for Town down the left-hand side. And then arguably a front three or a supporting two of Hepburn Murphy, Johnny Williams, and of course the skipper, Charlie Austin, up top. But yeah, I mean, take it away. I mean, obviously, Ellis, the first thing that immediately sort of stuck out was that the gaffer decided to put his faith in youth, and he was repaid somewhat, wasn't he?
Yeah. A lot of people have been calling out this season for Minturn to be given an opportunity to start, and you know, he took it with both hands. He played exceptionally well. At the end of the day, we were playing Leyton Orient, top of the league, absolutely steaming. So it's not exactly the easiest game to come into. And yeah, he sort of slotted straight into the team. Did not look out of place. And there's big things to come from Minturn. That, you know, his first league start. He's only going to get better. We also had Reece Devine on the left. That was his first league start for us. And obviously he come off having picked up an injury, but you know, when he had the ball, he looked a real threat along that left-hand side. real pacey, real direct, and yeah, looked dangerous. So it was a bit of a shame that he picked up an injury, but hopefully we see him back soon.
There were a couple of amazing runs, weren't there, Ellis? Just going back to Reece Devine there. There was the particular run that, very nearly kind of won us a penalty.
Yeah.
That seemed to be his MO for, certainly the period of time that he was on the pitch, where he would just get his head down and just, look to break the lines by just getting his head down and running through them, as opposed to, just constantly like looking for that pass inside or getting down a wing and crossing. He was intent on actually beating his man, dribbling into the box, and that was terrifying, Orient, wasn't it? I don't think they've had anyone. I would hasten to add, I don't think there's been anyone pitch up at Brisbane Road and do that to their back line, with that intent this year. He just struck me as being utterly fearless.
Yeah, and considering as well that he's been out for such a long time, his first game back, you couldn't really ask for much more. Obviously, picking up the injury is sort of the last thing that he wanted. You like looking at it from his perspective, you just want to bang out 5-6 games, get back in the rhythm a bit, and sort of dust off that ring rust. But yeah, another top player there. But yeah, it's
John's just tweeted Ellis. Certainly one of the wordsmith, it's fair to say, John, with your tweet. John's tweeted minnow.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, the Mingo absolutely attracted attracted all the right attention at the weekend. I tell you something that caught us that sort of caught us a little bit sort of by surprise. Probably there are better ways of putting it. Chris, you'll recall conversation while you and I were together, and we were stood in the pub on Leighton High Street, and as the team rolled in, I think he's only been here 5 minutes, but it kind of completely bypassed us that Jake Kane was missing from the lineup, and that's not a slight on him, but because obviously Kachi was in, but it was just one of those. It wasn't until we got into the ground and then we were like, hang on a minute, what's happened to Jake Kane? But Jake Kane had a virus, Ellis, from what we understand.
Yeah, I don't believe it was a sort of a performance-based decision. Yeah, I think that game sort of showed off Morris's tactical head and tactical thinking, which arguably we've sort of missed in the past couple of managers that we've had, and sort of the substitutions that he's making, changes to the side, to the formation. He's adapting it to the game very well. And like I said earlier, we were playing Leighton Orient. They are steaming the league. They're probably going to win. So to put out a performance like that.
Ellis, speaking of steaming, Omar Beckles certainly steamed into our 6-yard box, didn't he? Which was a little bit regrettable on with just 12 minutes gone. And it's fair to say there was steam coming out of Jody Morris's ears at the end of the game as well, in terms of the nature of how we conceded. What did you make of it?
Did he steam or did he meander into our box? Come on now.
Yeah. It was such an easy goal to prevent. It was just silly defending, really. And we stop that goal and we go on and score. We win that game. It's simple as that. But it's one of those. It's football. These things happen, and going into that game, before I would have been happy with a point, and a point we got.
I would say that as well. Before the game, if you offer a point, we take it. But that first goal, I mean, I was stood next to Hannah's watching the game, but because we were right up the other end, you couldn't really see too much about it. But then when you watch it back on the video, the way that the defence was just so static, and you let the biggest player on the pitch, the biggest threat in the box, come in for a free header like that is scandalous.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. The thing that immediately struck me, everyone picked up on the fact that it was Dylan Cadgey's man. Thanks to our international friends that were posting clips on Twitter. But the thing that sort of immediately kind of got me thinking was, I appreciate it was a young lineup. I was a little bit surprised that one of Orient's sort of, I mean, he's not old, but certainly an experienced player, like an elder statesman in their team, was allowed the kind of freedom he was. I was a bit surprised that Dylan Cadgey was the man that was meant to be marking him. I appreciate, in terms of physical attributes, Cadgey's a big lad. He's probably got a good leap on him. So you're thinking, right, I can kind of understand that. But a player like Omar Beckles has got, know-how in those lower leagues. And I can't help but think he's just done a job on him. I don't know, it's the sort of situation where you're like, I wonder if he said something in his ear, or he's just, a little bit of gamesmanship. He's managed to distract him to get the run on him. I was asking myself, does Charlie Austin fall for that? Does Charlie Austin, if he's picking up Omar Beckles, allow that to happen? And I can't help but think it doesn't. But no use crying over spilt milk. Obviously, we kept things pretty tight, didn't we, for the rest of the first 45, and on into the second half, where I think, if anything, we kind of came out at half time. Our tails were very much up, weren't they, Ellis? And again, we started asking questions, and on 64 minutes, I think the way the goal's been described, certainly on various outlets this week, is that the better teams are taking chances to try and win the game at home. And if you decide that you're not going to be policing the likes of Rashawn Hepburn-Murphy and Jake Wakelin as closely as maybe you should, you're going to pay the price. That seemed to be the rhetoric that came from Richie Willens, and so it proved, right?
100%. It was a lovely composed finish from Wakelin. It takes some sort of composure to pull off a finish like that, or even have the balls to sort of try that.
He had a lot to do, Ellis, isn't he? He had to cover a lot of ground. I mean, a lovely 1-2 with Rashawn Hepburn-Murphy.
Yeah.
But he's told Hepburn-Murphy where he wants it. He's had an inch perfect return. But then he's got a fair old amount of ground to cover, and he's got Lawrence Vigouroux to beat as well, who is arguably one of the goalkeepers, if not the goalkeeper of the season so far this season. Appreciate playing for top of the table. That's debatable. And certainly with Sol Bryn in our goal, I wanted to have that debate, but it's a cracking goal for so many reasons, wasn't it? Probably not the most spectacular, but if you're looking at it technically, that is a superb goal from Town.
Yeah.
And we also need to mention that Wakelin, when he came on, and at that time, was actually playing left wing back. He wasn't playing as a forward.
Yeah, sort of. Past couple games when he's come on, he's sort of been playing as a wing back role. It seems to be working. I mean,
but the ball from Rashawn actually can't be underestimated there, because it was just perfectly weighted, and he's had some criticism about his decision making at times, but that was such a good pass that almost made the goal.
Well, I've got some stats here. I've been deep diving into the stats of the game. So I'll just run them off quickly. I've got one main one that I want to focus on, but I'll leave that to the end. So we'll go through the key stats. So Orient had 12 shots. We had 8. Of those 12 shots from Orient, 2 were on target, and out of our 8, 4. Orient had 56 possession, leaving us with 44. And in terms of passes, they played 375, and we played 303. But sort of the one stat that caught my eye was the amount of clearances made. So we'll go through the tackles first. So Orient made 10 tackles. Tackles 1. We had 13. But in terms of clearances, Orient made 10 clearances, and we made a staggering 42 clearances.
How many of those? I mean, they were absolutely bombarding us, weren't they, Ellis? In the second,
they were
long throws in particular, and we stood up brilliantly. I think that was one of the reasons why Minturn made such an eye-catching debut. I don't think he lost a single header in the second half.
And he constantly had something to do. He didn't get a rest, the poor lad. but yeah, 42 clearances we made.
Unbelievable. And obviously a lot of tackles as well. It's interesting, isn't it? Appreciate we're playing top of the league, but the possession stats were what really caught my eye. It's quite unusual for us to see Swindon Town surrender so much possession, but obviously we're used to our possession stats being up in the sort of high 60s. So to bring it back to 44% possession, I think sort of told its own story. I don't know how the panel feels about this. Do we think that this is this is representative of the changes that Jody Morris is putting in place, that we are not going to be as obsessed with dominating the possession stats? Appreciate he wants to be a possession-based team, but do we think that's an indication of Jody Morris being a little bit more pragmatic in his approach?
Yeah,
Well,
I think it shows that, previous managers, it's almost as if we need, above 60% possession. Otherwise, we're not going to win the game. I think Jody's approach is possession. Possession is good. Possession is needed at times to create opportunities, to create openings and whatnot. But when you're coming up against a team like Orient, having possession 60% of the time, at the end of the day, it's probably not going to help, and it's not going to work. And I think we demonstrated that quite well in Saturday's game, in sort of the off the ball work that we've done, especially defensively. It paid off because we got the draw.
I think with the goal as well, it says, I think that started off, if we'd like wind it back, I think it might have been Clayton who it was an agricultural clearance that sort of got us down the pitch to start with. But with the way under Scott Lindsay, would he have made that sort of clearance, or would he have tried to play it around the back? And I think that's at that point, it says just get it further up the field, set up and go. And I think that's the difference, where we'd sometimes we're a little bit more direct than all the tippy-tappy passing.
You make a really interesting point, Chris. And there's been several times this season, sort of post Lindsay and obviously post Garner, but there's been several times this season where I've looked at situations where the boys have just cleared their lines, and I've actually gone, do you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense to me, and I appreciate, getting the ball down, trying to play through the thirds, to quote, Lindsay himself, play through the thirds, blah, blah, blah. I get all of that. But it was starting to get to a stage where I was starting to get Luke Williams nightmares under those two managers. And there were times where in the stands, I was like, hang on a minute, like, we are your paying public here. I don't see us actually playing a style of football that actually your paying public wants to kind of pay to come and see. And actually, you can't even argue back and say, well, hang on a minute, it's successful. Because actually, obviously, under the previous gaffer, it wasn't proving to be successful. It was just we got a worse squad year on year, and it just felt to me that they were more likely to be making silly mistakes at the back. I think by being a little bit more pragmatic this season, we're going to probably get more out of arguably slightly less technically proficient players. Now, I say slightly less technically proficient players, but now I'm going to move on to talking about George McEachran, because if we don't take up the option on extending his deal, I'm going to personally go to whoever's house it is that would make that decision and remonstrate with them in the strongest possible fashion. Obviously,
if we've got the option, there's no rush on it, because we can at any point we do it.
But what? Chris,
but why wait? It needs to be done now.
Yeah, I don't think we need to wait. Honestly,
we should have done it yesterday.
We've signed him, and he's come in, and he's been everything we needed in midfield, and he's been absolutely unreal.
Let me put it to the panel: Louis Reed or George McEachran?
Oh, you bastard!
Oh, you Joe, you.
Well, McEachran
I've used words that begin with C, but Joe.
I'm going for McEachran just based off of his looks. He's a top looking man.
All right, Ellis, don't do a Kyle Walker. Put it away.
My god!
I'm doing McEachran basically because we've got him now and we haven't got Reed.
Oh,
good point.
Listen, I mean, it's such a tough one to call. I'm going to do my best not to have splinters in my arse here, but I mean, Louis Reed is like on his day. Louis Reed is probably one of the best players outside the Championship, like by a country mile. And he's Mansfield are keep him motivated. Whatever it was that turned his head in his final. I've made it quite clear what I think my suspicions are. I think it's contract related, but keep him motivated. You've got an absolutely sublime player that can control a game from central defensive midfield position, and I think this is the thing. At the moment, you've got a George McEachran that's playing for his future. I think he's still got a bit to prove. Like I hope if we do sign him, take up the option on the deal, that we see a George McEachran that plays with with his pecker up in the way that we're seeing at the moment.
I think one interesting point is actually, I think it was Dean that mentioned it. It says that Louis Reed's a great player, but he can only play in one system and one formation. And I thought, that was actually quite interesting, because I thought, is that why maybe he wasn't so great this season?
Well, look, the thing
also, one way you can look at it as well, George McEachran was here before Louis Reed, because I'm pretty sure he played the Peterborough game in pre-season before Reed signed.
He was on trial last season. McGarner didn't like him. So.
Yeah, but he's a bald turtle prick. So.
Well, yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Don't you hold back, Joe. Don't you hold back.
Bloody hell!
Wow.
Defamation lawsuit inbound.
Yeah, my address for the lawsuit postage is Hannah's. I don't even know.
I'm well and truly under the bus. Listen, all I would say is this: that all of that could have been avoided, Ben, if only you'd said goodbye. But hey, you snooze, you lose. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, just to kind of summarise, Ellis, a lovely summary from you, mate. Thank you very much for your statistical insights, but also your insights into the game. And Chris, likewise, for confirming to everybody that we forgot, or rather I did, that we forgot half the Swindon Town squad by virtue of Jake Kane not even being recognised by us when the teams were announced in the pub. But there might have been other reasons for that that come in jars. Right, I would say, obviously, lovely goal to finish off, and then we've defended stoutly. We've seen out the game. Everyone seemed pretty happy, and hopefully, we're then rolling into our next opposition at the county ground on Saturday with a few players returning from injury. Hopefully, we haven't picked up. Appreciate we lost Reece Devine, but hopefully, we haven't picked up any more knocks. And we look forward to the presser, which will be, what are we now? The presser will be Friday?
No, it's tomorrow. Presser's Thursday, I'm sure.
Yeah, Thursday.
Andrew, who I can see listening, but it's normally about 2:00 on a Thursday, I think.
2:00 Thursday for our presser, so we'll have a better view of things now. But there weren't too many more limping other than Reece limping off the pitch on Saturday, were they? So a fine job. And listen, I just wanted to kind of round off by saying this. The thing that really warmed my heart on Saturday was at the end of the game. Like I tweeted about it. I really did feel that our supporters put their best foot forward on a few fronts, and I'm just going to rattle through them. The first was that I thought the reception to the players, particularly to Harry Minturn, who was obviously playing well out of the comfort zone in terms of his first league debut, settled into it fantastically well. What a reception that young man's got. And I'm sure he won't forget that. The look on his face was absolutely priceless. But the universal acclaim that lad received from the town end was absolutely brilliant. Another player who asked me, and again, I tweeted it because he asked me to do it tonight, but the opportunity came up to bring it up a little bit earlier. I got contacted by Joe Tomlinson, who obviously finished the game with the captain's armband. Very, very proud moment for Joe and his family, obviously. But he just really stressed how important the fans were mentally to the players. Like psychologically, we had such an important role to play, and he really wanted to stress we were the 12th man, all the cliches. And he just wanted me to make sure that everyone's aware that it's not glib. Like this isn't just something that they say just to kind of make people feel good. Like that we actually had a tangible impact on those lads, whether that be the marginal gain, call it what you will. But the way that that Joe was straight on to me to just say, look, Hannah's, make sure as many of your listeners are aware as possible and that they spread the word. Like, we need that through to the end of the season. Like they all really believe but I think that, the message Joe's trying to give me is that they believe that they can get us to where we want them to get to if we just get off our asses and open our mouths, as we did on Saturday. And then my final point was, I was blown away by the reception that we gave Richie Wellens. And again, you could tell by the expression on his face, it made him feel a little bit awkward in front of his home fans, because he was taking a claim from their fans, and it was all a bit same old, same old. Then he's walked in front of the Swindon fans, and everybody's singing "There's only one Richie Wellens." Now, there were some detractors in amongst the town fans, like, why are we doing that? It's a little bit disrespectful, but just got to stress, Jody Morris got one hell of a reception from the town fans as well. And I think my point, and I hope you all feel it's valid, is that, listen, at the end of the day, it's not about being sentimental. This guy won a league trophy for us, and I appreciate he left. But the circumstances were, as I'm sure hindsight tells us, we had COVID, we had the previous owners, all kinds of shenanigans going on in the background. I think it was just really nice, actually, to see Swindon Town fans putting their best foot forward and saluting a guy that we didn't have an opportunity to salute at the end of a season. And to be able to have done that at the county ground and at his ground as well, I think speaks volumes. And I've just got a feeling, you never know. I'm pretty certain that there is another Richie Wellens Swindon Town chapter to be written at some point. And I do think that would get quite significant backing, albeit I appreciate there are still detractors in some areas. So well done, town. Cracking day in my hometown on Saturday. It was lovely seeing so many familiar faces. Just a mere 20-30 minute run from where I live. So brilliant. And me managing to get home without backache and spending an inordinate amount of money at the M4 services. But Joe, we move.
We do move.
We got a bit of Carlisle to talk about, but
you've got. Before we dive into the preview of the weekend visit of Carlisle United, I think we've got a little announcement to make, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Time for a drum roll. What are we saying?
Why don't you make it?
Oh no, I didn't expect to. Okay, right, we're ready.
Oh, what a drum roll!
All right. That's all.
It just sounds like the bongos.
That was my table. That was my bedside table. Unfortunately, okay. I don't think I can do much better.
Well, I guess the statement that we'd like to make on behalf of the Tom Broadbent Lounge and Swindon Town Football Club would be along the lines of the Tom Broadbent Lounge has been invited by Swindon Town Football Club to take over the compere or stadium announcer duties, however you want to say it. So from this weekend, our very own Mark Hanrahan will be the resident voice at the county ground, pre-match crowd hyping, fan competitions, in-game announcements, etc. They will never sound the same again. In fact, they'll sound all the more familiar. So leading into the weekend, we thought we'd give STFC's new stadium announcer a bit of an interview to discuss how the role will look moving forward, what that means for the relationship between the Tom Broadbent Lounge and Swindon Town Football Club, and how this all came about. So, Hannah's, do you fancy a few little questions to answer?
Yeah, okay. Why not?
Yeah, lovely. So we'll go formal with this, shall we? So Mark, how has this all come about?
Okay, so I think it's interesting because we've just received from John. And thank you, John. Very kind words, but it's just sweet about effing time. I think taking me out of that equation, it's felt to me for quite a while that county grounds needed a little bit of a little bit of a lift in certain areas. I mean, I'm not for a second saying the county ground is a library, far from it. But I think one of the problems that we have as a football club is, certainly for the last 30 years, we as a fan base have had a lot of kicks in the gonads, to quote Jody Morris from the weekend. It feels like whenever we've had an opportunity to celebrate something, Lady Luck has conspired to kick us square in the gonads. And I think most of us are at a stage now where it's very easy for us to look on the downside. It's one of the reasons why I decided to launch the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge in the first place, because I got to a stage where I'm like, look, what am I actually doing here? Like, when I go to the county ground on a Saturday, you know, it's meant to be entertainment. I'm meant to go there like not fearing the worst. You know what? It's about time with a new owner coming in that we just flip the script and actually start looking a little bit glass half full. So as far as I'm concerned, that's been my outlook. And I think it's fair to say that, I mean, I just need to stress this because the question has been raised on several occasions that maybe the fan base is so not used to things being glass half full with a Swindon Town voice that there were some fingers pointed in our direction as to whether or not, I mean, I've been asked directly, like, are you on the payroll? Like, are the club paying you to do what you're doing? You know, what's the arrangement here? You know, you're not independent. You know, people have asked about why do we get all this access where other avenues haven't got the access? And my reply to that is really quite straightforward. You know, we're very dynamic. You know, we're very flexible. We can be because guess what? I mean, I'm lucky enough that I've been able to retire early in life, so I've got a little bit more time on my hands. That enables us to be very flexible. That enables us to be in certain places where others might struggle because of work commitments or whatever it might be. I think people kind of quite literally like the vibe. You know, that people contact me saying, "Keep doing what you're doing." You know. Excuse the French, but fuck the haters, as the kids would say. There are people that want to drag us down. There are people that want to make us feel bad for being, you know, positive or trying to be positive. But I think I said from the outset, Joe, it's a long-winded way to answer the question, typical Hannah style. But I said from the outset, I said to the club, you know, listen, we're going to be glass half full, but I'm going to hold you to account. If I feel that we're being, as a fan base, mugged off, or if I feel that things could be done better, you know, you're going to be the first people to hear. We will be one of the first people to start asking those questions when we feel that there is something legitimate to whinge about. And I think that's the thing. We're not hair trigger. And I think it's got to a stage, certainly over the last sort of 2 months in particular, where we've posed some very uncomfortable questions of people that are responsible for doing things behind our club. We've looked at certain things that we're not happy about. We've asked questions about the Charlie Austin signing. We've asked questions about recruitment. We've asked questions about season tickets. We've given the people the opportunity, when questions have been raised about our accounts, to come on and actually answer those questions directly from our listeners. And I think we've done the same with some of our players as well. Yeah, of course, we like to have a laugh with our players. I'm not going to repeat the formula that you get everywhere else. So you're not going to get from us what you get with the Low Strangers, or what you get with the Old Duffers, or what you get with the Supporters Club, or what you get with Fools Rush In. You're not going to get that with us. What's the point? If we all did the same thing, if we all tried to be Jeremy Paxman, no one's going to want to listen to us. So we try and do something different. So
to be fair, I think as well, with being a Swindon Town fan, we've said over the last year or so, we are a bit spoiled with content. We've got so much quality content out there with the names that you mentioned there, like, you know, the Supporters Club doing that on the sofas. You've got the Low Strangers that have been doing it for a while. Fools Rush In guys. We've got a real good base of Swindon Town content in social media. But as you say, we've all tried to be a little different. And I think, you know, we've done our best to stay as impartial as possible. We've, a lot of the time as well, the questions that we ask the people at the club, whether that's in leadership positions or, you know, managerial or on the pitch or staffing, sometimes they're not online, but we do ask the questions. And believe me, listeners, if we ever hear anything that is a worry to us in concern with the football club, you'll be the first to know, because we don't have those loyalties to really defend people to the hill when it's not justified. So I think, Hannah, that probably leads into my next question for you.
Well, listen, just before you go there, I just want to stress this, all right?
Yeah, go on.
For 20 years of my life, I represented 442, all right? For those of you who aren't aware, 442 is the world's leading independent football magazine, formerly owned by the Haymarket Media Group, who were my employers for the best part of 20 years. And the football division was very much like my bread and butter. It was my absolute dream job. Now, the key thing about 442 was its independence, but also its irreverence, but it's always wanted to remain edgy. Now, I like to think that after spending 20 years, you know, behind the scenes of 442 in, you know, various senior positions, I'm not going to roll over and just be someone's patsy. And I just want to make that absolutely clear to anyone that might have any lingering doubts. Because that is an allegation that I take really, really seriously. Like if people want to stand and point fingers at me, I mean, someone once posed the question to me that, you know, actually suggested that because I sound like Lee Power, I'm something to do with Lee Power. Well, I'm really sorry, but I've supported the club since 1986. I'm from Lewisham. Guess what? So's Lee Power. So shoot me. There's nothing I can do about the fact that I'm from where I am. But the fact is, all of my family are Swindonians. I'm very, very proud of my Swindon roots. I'm very, very proud that I've got that longevity of support. But I'm also crucially very, very proud that I've been part of one of the largest independent football reporting voices that this country has ever produced. And I try and bring a bit of that to the table with what we do on the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge. Yeah, of course, we're a bit more spit and sawdust than a polished, glossy monthly magazine that ends up on your newsstands. But that DNA is just part of what I do. So fingers crossed it all shines through. And I hope that's why, you know, I mean, our last show, there's 3,500 of you guys listened in. And I hope there's a reason for that. You know, you seem to like what we do. So if we can bring a little flavour of that to your Saturday experience in the stadium, then fantastic.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. So I suppose you've probably answered my second question a little bit there. So we'll go on to this one. We've spoken there a little bit about how the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge is independent of the football club. We're not being paid by anyone to spruce things up and, you know, polish some proverbial turds that are maybe in the background at times. So what does this mean for the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge? Will there be any changes moving forward? Does this now mean that we're no longer going to be independent from the football club? Have we signed anything to make us an official sort of media partner? Are we now under the umbrella of Clem's ownership?
No, absolutely, fundamentally not. Just to be very, very clear, the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge is an independent Swindon Town Twitter space. I'm pleased I said that. Now I don't have to say it at the end. No, we're completely independent. We're going to stay completely independent. The club are aware that the only reason I'd be willing to, you know, accept their invitation to take that role on a Saturday is that it doesn't affect anything that we've achieved with the show. And listen, it's a virtuous cycle at the end of the day. You know, if we keep on doing good stuff on a Wednesday night and on a Saturday at the county ground, then when it comes to stepping out on the pitch on a Saturday, hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to kind of, you know, ramp up the atmosphere and get people buying into the kind of things that we're doing on the pitch. I think the minute we start clearly presenting ourselves as stooges of the management, you lose a little bit of that magic. Now, this is the thing. I hope, I'm pretty sure that we are the only football club out of the 92 that have allowed an independent fans Twitter space to come on and take over the mic in the ground. Now, that is another, for me, that is another show of commitment to transparency from our football club, that they're willing to do that. And I can only stress, and look, Rob Angus is very, very available to you all as he does his rounds on a Saturday. Go and ask Rob how many questions or how many rules he's put in place for me ahead of Saturday's game, and I'll tell you the answer. I'll tell you the answer now. The answer is none. There's obviously some basic taste boundaries because we're talking to a family audience. We're after the watershed now, so we can drop the odd F-bomb. But on a Wednesday, I think that's the only thing. I've just got to play nicely. But listen, I don't think anyone's expecting, I mentioned his name earlier, I don't think anyone's expecting Jeremy Paxman or Henry Winter on the touchline on a Saturday when we're talking about just having a bit of fun with the stands and getting people a little bit more engaged with things other than, you know, what 11 superstars in red are doing. We're soon going to find out, though, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like I say, it's a really exciting sort of move for, I think, as you said, the football club as well as us as a group, really, because we are now part of a historic move in the EFL where a football club has had, you know, an announcer that's not a part of their business, if you like. It's part of an independent panel of supporters, which is, yeah, it's a weird one. It's exciting. It's new, but I think, I mean, obviously as a group, this is a massive achievement for us all, really. But I think on a personal level, you're going to be the designated announcer. What does it mean to you on a personal? Because it's a big thing, right?
Oh man, listen. I mean, I said to you, I've been supporting the club since I was like 9-10 years old. I can vividly remember all the the sights, the tastes, the smells, the experience of my first trip to the county ground. And I ended up working in media. Like, the whole media piece always fascinated me from a very, very early age. And I still remember the magic, the first time I was ever invited to step out on the county ground pitch with my boots and my gloves on and have 90 minutes in between the sticks at the county ground pitch. Like, it was just utterly magical. To get the opportunity to be invited by my football club, our football club, to go out on that pitch and, announce the teams, have a bit of fun with the stands. It's every little boy's dream, right? I mean, I can't stress that enough. Like, the lovely thing is, like, the whole premise behind what I want to try and achieve when we're out on the pitch is I just want people to understand, like, I am there as a fan for the fans. I don't mean that to sound cheesy, but if I can kind of, I don't know, I would just want people to realise that, like, I'm like every other Swindon Town supporter inside that ground. Like, we've all shared the same sort of highs, lows, disappointments, excitement, thrills, etc. I just want to carry a little bit of that. I don't want to sound too schmaltzy, but I just want to carry a little bit of that out on the pitch. Like, I'm your representative out on the pitch, and I'm going to do my absolute damnedest to have a few of you guys come out and join me on the pitch. I'm not just talking about my teammates on the Sir Tom Brewitt lounge. I am talking about a few of you guys that have never been out on the pitch. I'm going to be giving you opportunities to come out and join me, and not necessarily make a mug of yourself. So again, there's another, I understand only too well how special that is, an opportunity. And if I can extend that opportunity and get some other people out there with me as well, you can be sure as eggs is eggs, I'm going to be doing it from Saturday onwards.
Hannah's, can I quickly just say, essentially just a big well done. I don't think a lot of people, a lot of listeners realise the amount of hard work that you put in sort of behind the scenes for the Sir Tom Brewitt Lounge. If you guys could see the plans that Hannah's puts together before each show, that they're not far away from word for word for what we say in the show. He does plans for pre-match shows on the Saturday, travels, hours to get here every home game. So it's good to see that your hard work is being recognised, Hannah's.
Yeah, to be fair, just to add on to that as well, if I could tell you back before I moved to uni, the amount of times I go to my mum and be like, "Mum, where's Dad?" and I hear out of her mouth, "He's working on the bloody show again." Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of work that, obviously I know I'm his son and all that, so it doesn't mean as much coming from me. But seeing, like, just the amount of time, like, he spent just obviously on the phone sorting things out, like back when we used to have, like, a lot more of, like, the ex-players coming on, he'd be constantly, like, he'd be weeks planned ahead. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, my mum absolutely hated it, but I think a little part of her was a little bit proud. But yeah, no, it is just absolutely mental, like, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, like I said, it's just a huge credit, and the Sir Tom Brewitt Lounge would be nowhere near where it is now without you, Hannah's.
Oh, that's very kind. But listen, on Saturday, it's not going to be all about me. Like I said, hopefully we'll have the best part of 10,000 people in the stadium with us. And we've got some nice surprises lined up where I genuinely mean what I say. Like, there's going to be some lovely opportunities to help, like, for me to help people tick a tick a life box. So just keep your ears peeled. If you can, get into the ground bright and early. We're going to start our on-pitch coverage by about sort of 10 to 2. We're going to be the first place that you will get the opportunity to hear the team lineups. So if you want a literal reason, as opposed to just seeing my bald head glistening in the Wiltshire sun, as I hope we see on Saturday, it will be because we're going to be the first place where you're going to get the opportunity to get the team lineups read to you. So, but also working alongside me, we've got our DJ Jay up in the box. Jay's going to be responsible. So MST, thanks for your tweets, mate. Just to go through them in detail, he's saying XTC can stay, but please don't play Sweet Caroline. And I hope the PA is working in the Don Rogers. Not now. Listen, I've been told that the PA should hold up in the Don Rogers, but the club have held their hands up and said there's a sticking plaster on it this season. I'll do my damnedest. I'll shout extra loud when I come over to that side of the ground. Sweet Caroline XTC, listen, nothing to do with me, albeit you've only got to take one look at my bio on my Twitter handle to get a flavour as to what the music might sound like if they let me loose on the mixer. And I don't think it is to everyone's tastes. So, listen, DJing is going to be left to my colleague up in the box, and we're going to be bound. So basically, there's going to be plenty of music. There's going to be plenty of on-pitch entertainment, and we're going to just look to give the place a little bit of an extra jolt, because let's just say at the moment it sounds like we got 10 voices. We want to try and get it to level 11. We need those players to hear that 12th man, and that's a big responsibility. And trust me, I do feel it. So all I would ask is everyone just try and get behind us at the weekend. Do you know what? Don't care what the person next to you's saying. Don't let anyone standing next to you like being negative, having a moan up, all the rest of it. Listen, you go to football to make a noise on a Saturday, right? So go to football, make a bloody noise, whether you're in the Arkles, Don Rogers, Townend, it does not matter. Don't be one of those guys that's too cool for school. Like, don't worry about making yourself look a wally. At the end of the day, you walk out that ground like 2 hours later, no one's going to give a monkeys, and the rest of your life can go back to normal. But you've only got to look at the way they work it, Ellen Road. Like, that place absolutely rocks every home game, irrespective of result. And that's because every single person in that ground is encouraged to open their mouths and get behind the team. And I know, like I said, trust me, 30 years of negativity, like, I get it. Like, we have had it absolutely. If there is any fan base in the country that's got a reason to just sit there with their arms folded, having a massive sulk, it's us. But why bother? You're spending 20 odd quid on your ticket, 20 quid plus, or if you're like me, you've probably spent the best part of £1,000 on your season tickets, you and your family. Just go and let go for a couple of hours, because I guarantee you, all you're going to see as a result of that is positivity on the pitch. If you don't believe me, ask Joe Tomlinson. And if you don't believe Joe Tomlinson, ask me to echo those sentiments to you. Catch up with him beside the Arkles before the game or after the game and ask him directly and get him to tell you how important it is. Are there any new chants on the cards? MST is asking. Well, listen, that's not up to me. That's up to you lot. But what I will say is I might give you a little bit of inspiration. How about that? I certainly think that we're not making as much as we can out of a star man running down the right. I'm pretty sure his name is Romeo Hutton, and I'm pretty sure he's fucking dynamite. So, hey, look, there's one for starters. But that's for you lot to work out on a Saturday. How's that, Joe?
I think, mate, that's perfect. We've got Steve on the show for, I believe, his debut. So, Steve,
Lord.
welcome to the show, mate.
Steve, you got to unmute your mic, fella.
Right. I'm feeling a little...
Hello, Steve. Good evening.
There I am.
Very good.
Good. I'm not going to be at the game on Saturday. Just wanted to wish you good luck with it, to be fair, and it's what it needs. Because
thank you, Steve.
Let's be fair. Most of the time, you sit there at the county ground with a bovril, sat at your seat, and it's boring because no one's doing anything. And yeah, it definitely needs something to brighten the place up and hopefully stop the negatives from being negative. And
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you, Steve. And to be honest with you, like I said, the fan in me, I mean, I had to think long and hard about it when they offered me the opportunity, because for all the reasons Joe's asked, at the end of the day, listen, we're an independent fan Twitter space, and I have to put up with enough trolling as things is, without now presenting myself on the pitch on a Saturday. But you know what? I'm one of these people that just says, at the end of the day, if you want something to change, there are two types of people in this world, Steve. There are people that do, and there are people that say they do but don't. And I'm definitely like to put myself down as one of those people that says he does. So at the end of the day, mate, it's a bit of do or die, isn't it, on Saturday? And like I say, we'll run it through to the end of the season. If everyone likes what we do, and we can get the place rocking, then who knows? You might see me next season as well.
Well,
but thank you, mate. I really appreciate that.
No, credit where it's due. You're doing a good job with this thing. And
Thanks, pal.
I might have a little bit of a whinge on the Twitter, but with you, but it's all in jest and whatever else, you know me.
Yeah, of course. No, we get that, Steve. And thank you, mate. That's really kind of you. Thanks for popping on.
No worries at all. Cheers.
All right, buddy. Take care. Oh, Steve Terrell. How about that? Lovely to put a voice to the name, Joe.
Yeah, 100%. Cheers for coming on, Steve, mate. That's really nice. I'll say, you know, the request button's always there, so anyone listening wants to get involved, pop your request in, come and join us, have a chat. That's what we're all about. It's the beauty of doing live shows. It's past the watershed too, so if you're worried about effing and jeffing, fuck it, just get on. But yeah, I mean, leading on, obviously, we were meant to be going into the Carlisle preview. Without wanting to take too much time up, really, I think, you know, it's clearly going to be a hard game at the weekend. They're one of the most informed teams in the league. We're at home, so you think we shouldn't really be losing. I think it's one of those games where, because they're so close to the automatics, it's probably a good point. I think I wouldn't see it if we drew the game as 2 points lost. It's one of those games. If we can get a point out of both Carlisle and Leyton Orient, in double headers in a week, genuinely that's not a bad result.
Well, they've won their last 3, Joe, haven't they, Carlisle? I mean, if you had told me earlier in the season that, you know, that Paul Simpson would have Carlisle, obviously Paul Simpson returning to that club would be a little bit like, I guess we mentioned him earlier, Richie Wellens returning to Swindon. You know, a massive hero in most departments up at Carlisle. But, you know, won their last 3 games. They've usurped Stevenage, who seem to be putting a stranglehold on second position. And while Stevenage have lost 4 of their last 6, I think it is, you know, Carlisle's run of form, that they're winning the last 3 games. They've managed to leapfrog them. And I think, I'll be honest with you, mate, watching Leyton Orient on Saturday, I wasn't particularly impressed. They strike me. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they'll go on and win that league." I just thought they were pretty ordinary. So I'm really.
They didn't strike me as an amazing team when we played them earlier in the season.
Did you hear
genuinely, mate? There's no one in this league that scares me.
Did you hear what Anthony Grant said about them, Joe? So Anthony Grant compared the Leyton Orient lineup with our lineup under Richie Wellens. And he was like absolutely unequivocal. And he was like, he's not just saying it because, you know, he had a Swindon Town audience, and I completely get it. Said we would have absolutely obliterated that Leyton Orient team with Doyle and Yates, with DJ, with Lydon, with Michael Doughty. He was mentioning like our strength in depth and talked about like Danny Rose. Yeah, we have threats all over the pitch. I mean, Leyton Orient brought their big guns on at the weekend, didn't they? And I was a bit like, meh. But I've got to tell you that the football fan per se in me is really looking forward to seeing what Carlisle are all about on Saturday. But at the same time, it's a little bit of kind of trepidation because likewise, we're going into the game with much improved form. But Carlisle, 3 wins on the bounce, their tail's going to be well up, aren't they?
Yeah, properly. They're probably the most informed team in the league. You've got Stevenage have just fallen off the cliff after Aston Villa in the Cup. Orient have started dropping points here, there and everywhere. Northampton, again, have just dropped off. Carlisle are the informed team.
Yeah.
And to be fair play to them. Like, they've got... I mean, their budget is maybe one of the smallest in the league. I've not seen any balance sheets or whatever, but I'd imagine they're at least in the bottom half in terms of playing budget.
And they've got obviously they're the division's top scorers, and they've got Christian Dennis with 18 goals and 4 assists from his 35 games this season. So you know he's
smashing it.
He's the lad that's done the business against us before. So they've obviously got a threat, but I mean his shot accuracy is what really catches the eye. So 58 shots that Christian Dennis has scored. He's 18 goals from this season, 59%. So let's just round it up, 60% shot accuracy for Christian Dennis. So we're going to have to keep him quiet. And the worrying thing is for us, of course, is that we're going into that game at the weekend with still, to a degree, patched up backline. You never want that going into a game against an 18-goal marksman, do you?
You don't know, but is this the game? Do we now stick with Harry Minturn or do we go and chuck, Brewitt in off the bat next to Tom Clayton, who I'm assuming that he's played with Clayton before at Liverpool? Or is he? No, he's probably a little bit too old, isn't he? He's probably a few years older than Clayton.
I
mean, Tom
I
Brewitt,
think there's about 5 years difference between them. But
yeah, he was there until 2017. So I doubt it.
Archie, you've done
the other thing there is could be with Divine coming out. You could slide Tomlinson over to left back, and then put Brewitt in as another centre back and play those as a three if he wants to keep that same system. But the other thing I would say about Carlisle is that they perhaps have the best player in this league this season, in Moxon, who has been absolutely outstanding for them.
Yeah, 13 assists, Owen Moxon, 5 goals, 13 assists from his 36 games. He's clocked up. He's the third highest amount of minutes for them this season. 9 minutes played. He's racked up 29 shots, 17% conversion rate, and 41% shot accuracy. So yeah, Moxon's a real fan's favourite there.
Yeah, and he's come from nowhere.
Yeah. So look, Arch, you started talking about Brewitt. You've done a little bit of analysis on him, haven't you? Because obviously we've seen signing earlier in the season.
Indeed.
Fair to say that he's a colourful character.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I'm not sure how much we want to touch on this. I'm sure everyone's seen it by now with what happened back when he was in his younger days. When he essentially admitted in 2020, I believe, on interview, admitted to injuring his teammate to try and get picked in I believe it was for a cup match. But obviously he was a young lad. I've seen a ridiculous amount. Like it's a little bit split in our fan base at the moment in terms of what people are saying. But he was a young lad. I mean, if he was, you can see it in two ways really. He was so desperate to prove himself that he went that far to injure a teammate. Obviously, either way you look at it, it's completely wrong. Shouldn't have done it. But I don't think he has many worries in terms of trying to injure a teammate here, considering our injury crisis.
Yeah, they're all broken. I mean, listen, Arch.
Exactly. Yeah, they are already broken.
Arch, I would say this, that if anything, I kind of feel that Tom Brewitt's been let down by whoever was running the media, who, whenever he's done that interview.
Yeah, they shouldn't have allowed him to.
I can promise you this. I spent the best part of 20 years working in the football industry and spoke to an awful lot of footballers. And Tom Brewitt would not be the first footballer to, let's say, put in a robust challenge on a teammate. Let's just say that based on some conversations I've had historically. However, Tom Brewitt's probably just fallen foul of not being protected by media, because he probably gave that interview not fully understanding the ramifications of what that means or how that might represent him as a character. And all I can say is that his interactions with people around the club, the people that I care about around the club that I know are great people, all of those interactions have been massively positive.
Yeah. I mean, as well, I did meet him when I went down to, as some of you will know, went down and helped out the Kitmen with their podcast. He made a little appearance. I didn't know his name at the time. I'd seen the rumour going about on Twitter about him, so I did recognise the face. And I had a conversation with him. He seemed like a proper top bloke. There was nothing about him that would scream that he's a bad character. He was with all the lads. He seemed he'd already kind of slotted into the side really in terms of the morale side of things. So I don't think we have got much to worry about there, in all honesty.
And not being funny, can I just point out, like, we are a club that have given people opportunities that have that have gone the wrong side. I'll just draw a line here. I'll just sort of put it like this. There are certain lines that are out there that people would generally, I think, agree are acceptable. And we've given people an opportunity at our football club when those lines have been crossed. And listen, at the end of the day, We've got a player, like I said, if you want a formally professional opinion, he's been let down by other people that should be employed to protect him and his reputation. And that's not happened. So does it make it right? What he admitted? Of course not. But should everyone be given an opportunity to redeem themselves? Yeah. Has anybody died, or has anyone, been seriously injured? The answer to that is no. Or mortally injured, the answer to that is no.
Yeah, I do completely agree with you as well with the idea of proving himself. Obviously, he's got decent youth pedigree. He was at Liverpool for 10 years, between 2007 and 2017. So obviously, he's worked under some pretty. Was he there when Klopp was there? When did Klopp come in? I think he would have been.
Yeah, he was. He was there in Klopp's first season.
Yeah. So obviously, he's worked under some good managers. Then when you kind of follow his career onwards, he went over to, I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'm terrible at pronouncing these. You've got AFC, is it Fold?
Yep.
Yeah. Where obviously he's made appearances there. He then had his move to Morecambe for the 2019-2020 season, where he did score in his 22 appearances. So that's always a bonus. Then he's moved over to Tacoma Defiance. Which I believe, So he's moved over to America for his football, where he spent the last 2 seasons. So then he moved to Hartford Athletic the following season.
He's operating in basically the second string of American soccer.
Yes, yeah. Where he did score. He scored 3 goals in 31 appearances as well. So I mean, he's got goals in him, which is always a bonus. I think he's 6'1". And he's a big lad as well. When I saw him, he comes across as much larger. He is what we need at the back when you really think it that way. I mean, if you put it this way, in terms of if he's willing to go that far on teammates, you can expect he's a double R bastard at the back that we've been calling out for.
He's a barrel. Yeah,
I think if anything, to be fair, lads, he's a body. He's a body in a shirt at centre back. We just need it.
Joe, doesn't Arch make a very, very good point?
He does. He makes a good point.
If you think about the Swindon teams the last couple of years, it's all, and I mean, and I'm not saying this like being disparaging, but they're really, really, really nice guys. And when I think back in whether it be business or successful football teams I've played in, you always need a couple of bastards in there. Do you know what I mean? Like players with a bit of an edge in there.
Yeah, 100%. Because especially when you think about how physical this league is as well. It's like you can't we had a back line of youth players essentially, and it's like if we were going into Carlisle with a back stick of youth players, especially against you were saying about Moxon and his goal involvements this season, you need someone in there who's willing to put in a challenge, who is he's got it in him.
It's one of those ones.
You want someone that they're going to be worried about, because
I think it's probably why Blake Tracy's probably stood out this season, is because he's 100%. The only player we've had at the back.
How many times has that lad broken his nose?
Yeah,
yeah, genuinely, yeah.
I get the same sort of vibe from Tom Brewitt, and I feel like it is going to be quite a good, quite a useful asset to have in the back line.
What we really
need
it's just
it's a number.
What we need in our back line is a Beckles.
Yeah,
and if Brewitt can bring even half of that, I think it'll improve us.
Well, listen, I mean, again, it's pedigree, isn't it? And the one thing that I will tip my hat to the recruitment guys all day long is that when you look at players that we've brought in this season, pedigree is always very, very high on the list. And I
wouldn't tip any sort of hat, but you go on.
Yeah, but but the fact is, listen, you're looking at, in seasons gone past, we've given the opportunities. Tom Brewitt feels to me a little bit like a Yasser Kassim, a Mas Luongo, a Nathan Byrne, a player that has got that incredible pedigree, but has maybe lost his way a little bit. And then we give him the platform to shine, and we give him that big opportunity. I think we've talked about the potential character flaws, or the way that he's been let down by people in the past in terms of letting certain stories be told in certain ways. I just keep, we just wish, obviously, Tom, we wish you all the best, mate, for hopefully your debut on Saturday. Obviously we've announced his signing, and I noticed that there was no mention of international clearance, so I'm gonna suggest that that's probably come through now. But I guess we're gonna find out at the presser tomorrow.
I think that's probably the reason why it took so long, is the international clearance. Obviously, he is an American citizen, so he got his, I think is it blue card last year. So obviously he's transferred nationalities completely to gain an American passport. So that's probably why it took over the weekend to get through.
Right, Joe, a note for future shows when we get Tom on. He's got to sing the Star Spangled Banner from start to finish to earn a hoodie.
That's 100%, definitely.
It's also worth pointing out as well that I think he's probably had pictures with Casey over the last 2 or 3 games, so he's been here for a while.
He was at the Salford game, so he's been here for ages. He's been at the club for ages. I think, I was just thinking then, we were talking about his sort of character and the situation of scenarios coming into the club. It absolutely smacks of Manny Egbo last season.
Yeah.
He's coming from America. He's played with Manny Egbo as well, so both of them played together over in the USL Championship. I saw Manny had commented on Tom's Instagram story, being like, a bit positive, winky face towards the Swindon Town link, which was nice to see. And let's face it, if he could have half of the impact that Manny had last year, then he's doing well. And it's probably a similar time that he signed.
Yeah, I thought I'll make you right, Joe. And in similar circumstances as well, in terms of injuries in his position. I think it's got to a stage where, listen, at the end of the day, as you say, he's a body through the door. He's in the right position. In the same way that Harrison took full advantage on Saturday. Hopefully, your boy Tom can take full advantage on Saturday coming as well. Obviously, the flip side is the big question is, and I'm just going to ask you all to give me a yes or no, or just give me the name. If you had the choice, you're going to go with Harrison Minturn, or you're going to go with Tom Brewitt starting on Saturday. Where are you going, Joe?
Minturn.
Chris?
I'm going both, purely because Divine's out, slide Tomlinson to left back and play Brewitt, Minturn and Clayton as a 3 at the back.
Okay, I'll say Chris, because I agree with him.
I just wanted an either or. If we're going with a back 4, Arch, who are you going with, Brewitt or Minturn?
A back 4, then it's Chris. Back 3 in I don't know.
You've
feel
totally
like...
corrupted my question in here, haven't you? So you're saying that we're all going to go with a back 3?
Yeah, I can't see it not being a back 4. If it isn't though, then it's a difficult question. I know, obviously, you wanted a yes or a no, but no. If Brewitt's fit, then Brewitt. I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for that, but
I don't think you can drop Minturn.
That's the thing. I don't think you can.
You start interjecting. They've got to give me their individual answers.
I can't see Minturn getting dropped after that performance. That's the only issue. But...
Well, you can't see it, but would you? Who you're going to go with? It's a tough question. It's a tough ask.
If it's one or the other in the back 4, then it's Minturn. But I think that they'll go with a 5 and probably play them both.
Thank you. It looks like we've just lost Ellis. Ellis has just dropped out. I think
Ellis has given up.
he's at the drop off early. He sends his apologies. Right. Well, we're
Ellis couldn't decide.
All right. Well, listen, we'll keep our powder dry, Joe, because we're going to still be running. Although we're doing pitch duties, we'll still be running a show from the Legends Lounge on Saturday where we'll be doing a real big... Oh, wow. What was that?
Is Arch alive? Is he alive?
Yeah. That was. I accidentally clicked the soundboard by accident, and it just went off, and I didn't know how to turn it off.
Sorry good God! Oh, thanks, Arch.
Jesus Christ! I do apologise.
Dear listener, we're going to be running a Carlisle show live from the county ground on Saturday from around midday. So tune in again for a deep dive into Carlisle on Saturday. We hope to, if we can, we're going to try and involve a few Carlisle fans, whether that be pre-contributions or live contributions, subject to 1 or 2 being allowed to join us in the Legends Lounge. Heaven forbid. But we're just going to round up and just going to tip our hats to royal recognition. Royal recognition, dear listener. What a week it's been for Swindon Town legends. So delighted that Mike Summerby, after the unbelievable career, 80 years young Mike Summerby is now. Mike Summerby was awarded an OBE at Windsor Castle, awarded by His Royal Highness Prince William. And Chris Kamara and James Milner both received MBEs. But to give you a little bit of an overview, Mike Summerby, OBE, was awarded for services to football and charity. Mike achieved 8 England caps, 244 Swindon Town appearances and 40 goals, overshadowed and tends to be overshadowed by his Man City career, where his legend is absolutely up there with the uber gods in blue. But let's not forget that Mike Summerby was one of Bert's babes back in the day, and as I say, 244 Swindon Town appearances and 40 goals speaks for itself. But Mike's career, he clocked up well over 700 career appearances. Obviously, father of another Swindon Town hero, legend of 1993 and beyond, Nicky Summerby, who represented us in the Premier League. Mike was inducted into the National Museum Hall of Fame. And for those of you with an eagle eye on fine 80s movies, Mike starred in Escape to Victory with the late, great Bobby Moore, OBE, our very own Ozzy Ardiles, the late Pele, and of course, Michael Caine and Sly Stallone, who decided to pull on the goalkeeping gloves. Not to mention John Walker and Russell Osman, for those of you of a Bristol City persuasion, which of course none of us would dream to be. Chris Kamara, MBE, was awarded for services to association football, anti-racism and charity. Cammy clocked up 777 career appearances and 85 goals, and 298 of those appearances were for the Red and White of Swindon Town, and 32 of his 85 goals came for us as well. Notably, Swindon Town's first black player. And Cammy represented 9 English professional clubs, including Bradford, Middlesbrough, Portsmouth, Brentford, and of course ourselves over 2 decades, before he went on to manage Bradford and Stoke. More recently, Cammy's been fighting a battle with apraxia of speech, and he's been very, very open with his documentaries on that, which you really will find superbly moving. What a character. I played against Cammy in the Paolo Di Canio charity game, and Cammy scored a penalty past me, and in doing so put his hamstring out. But what a character, both on and off the pitch that night. He is literally exactly the same in person as he is on camera. And I know that the apraxia of the speech had put a real dent in Chris's confidence. I think he described himself as feeling like a bit of a fraud in media terms, but there's not a football fan in the country that wouldn't tell Cammy to button it and just get on with doing what he's doing, because we love him, whether it's apraxia of the speech or not. James Milner, MBE, was awarded for services to football and charity. Milner's career, unbelievable, still going strong, and rumours of a contract extension at Liverpool for next season. Milner's 829 career appearances, 61 England caps, and has played for 7 absolutely gargantuan football clubs in England. Of course, top of that list are the mighty Reds of Swindon Town, where he played 6 appearances on loan from Leeds United and scored 2 goals. Still remains to be one of those very, very rare players that served Swindon Town for a short period of time, but left the club with standing ovation. There wasn't a single minute wasted on the pitch, and not a single James Milner shirt that wasn't drenched in sweat and blood from his appearances for Swindon Town. One of those players that doesn't get back to the county ground anywhere near as much as he should do, but would get an absolute rapturous round of applause if he did. So again, in summary, Mike Summerby, congratulations on your OBE. Chris Kamara, massive congratulations on your MBE. And James Milner, former Lone Legend, congratulations on your MBE. Joe, Chris, Arch, and obviously Ellis, congratulations. Joe, thanks ever so much for tonight, mate. Really, really enjoyed
Thank
that.
you very much. Yeah, to be honest, the section of singing was probably my favourite ever. Tom Brewitt Lounge, maybe half an hour of my life. It was amazing.
Very special, very special. But they've got some guts, okay. Chris,
you know, I'm gonna have a busy time with the next couple of days. Is actually making some fun clips of this to sort of push out on our socials, I think.
Well, you enjoy doing that. I think we will have a lot of fun back to it. Chris, thanks ever so much for tonight, mate. Really appreciate your show. Appreciate life's busy at the moment.
And also, one last thing to mention when we talk about James Milner, I think it it was a bit of an Andy King, Peter Reid sort of deal there as well. But how good was he? He was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he was the antithesis of you're playing a bit below yourself here, mate.
Yeah, the only player we've had on loan as well, I sort of will actually link to him because he was just equally as good, was Michael Carrick.
Yeah, I'd agree. Michael Carrick, and yet played in a very, very different position for the bulk of his career at the very, very top level. What a player he was for us. But cool. I mean, listen, one day we'll have a show where we try and get a few of these lone legends on, because you get me going now. You'll get me going with Roy Wegley, Tim Flowers, Shay Given. We've had them, haven't we, over the years? We have absolutely had them.
We have, and yeah, it would be good to sort of get a reflection of what they think. Like, I mean, most of these 20 years on.
Yeah, it's crazy, mate. It's crazy how the game has moved on in that time, and in many ways we haven't, sadly. But thanks ever so much, Chris. And last but certainly not least, obviously Ellis has gone already. My erstwhile son, living the student dream down in Bournemouth, mate. Thanks ever so much for coming on, Arch.
Yeah, I'd like to give my sincerest apologies for that interruption from the sirens there. I haven't been arrested. I just leant on the Twitter soundboard and it set it off. I'll keep that in mind for next time.
You have to sing as compensation, Arch.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. It was literally almost gave me a heart attack. I've leant on it. All of a sudden I hear sirens going off. I'm just like, Jesus, what is going on?
Right, well, dear listener, there you are, my glorious panel. And what a night it's been. We've had everything from Swindon Town Women's Football Club singing their songs to insights into Tom Brewitt, a review of Leighton Orient, what a day that was, and a preview of Carlisle. And obviously we've wrapped up with the Raw recognition.
Oh, wait, Hannah's, before we go, we need some predictions.
Oh, man. Come on, it's midnight. Can't we save that for Saturday?
Midnight predictions.
No,
keep your powder dry. We've got a show to do on Saturday. We'll save it for that. Right, dear listener, it's been our absolute pleasure. We're an independent fans Twitter space here at the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge, so our views do not represent those of Swindon Town Football Club, contrary to what the trolls might have you believe, or indeed Sir Tom Broadbent himself. It's been our absolute pleasure entertaining you for the last 3 hours. I really look forward to seeing your smiling faces and hopefully hearing your encouragement from the stands on Saturday when the Sir Tom Broadbent Lounge will be making its debut as your new on-pitch announcer at the County Ground, alongside Jay up in the DJ box. Take great care of yourself, guys. Thanks for joining us. Come on, you Reds.